to figure out how this works because I've never really been, well, I've been live on YouTube once, but that was a long time ago. I didn't you know, tell anyone that I was going to be live. It's very random. So this is more experimental for me. But in the future, I would like to have more Q&As and just be able to answer questions live instead of just doing it through the comments on the videos. So we will definitely try to do that. But like I said, it's my first time being live on here. So just to get started with the live, why don't I just go ahead and tell you guys what I do for a living in case you've only seen like one video or whatever. I sell products on Amazon for a living. I do something called private label where I order products in bulk from China and I resell on Amazon. So it is not the most unique business model ever. I mean, low key, a lot of the brands that you probably already buy do private label like I do. They just do it on a bigger scale. So, for example, a brand or a company like Fashion Nova, they started out with private label, right? They're going to these factories, they're buying products in large amounts, and then they are reselling for higher than what they're buying it for. Fashion Nova might sell a pair of jeans for $30. Do you think they're buying it for $30? Absolutely not. They're buying these jeans for like $3 and then selling it to you as the consumer for like 30. And so obviously what you're doing is you're buying for a low cost because you're buying a lot of them at once and then you're reselling for more than what you bought it for. So I like the business model because it gives you a lot of control over the brand, which then can make you more money. So if you're the one who gets to choose what the brand looks like, what the packaging looks like, how the product is delivered to the customer, then you can really optimize it so that you can make as much money as possible. So there are going to be lots of different factors that contribute to the price point that you can sell your product at. For example, if you are trying to sell a product that you're buying from China on Amazon and you don't put your logo on that product, the product will look cheap. And therefore, you won't be able to sell it for as much as you would be able to if you were to take that extra step and brand the product. If you have nicer packaging, theoretically, you can price a little bit higher. If you differentiate your product and make it better than all of the competitors, then you can place it or price it higher. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's all kind of a game of how low you can buy the product for and at a good quality, results, because you don't want to buy trash and try to sell trash because that's not going to be good for your business either. But if you can get the product for a really, really low cost and then do everything you can to make the product better, then you can maximize the amount that you can then go and resell it for. For example, I've got a product on Amazon that's a little bit over $2. I resell it on Amazon for 20. So if I'm buying it for such a cheap amount, yes, I do have Amazon fees. Yes, I pay for shipping. Yes, I have, these other small things that I'm paying for. But even after I pay for everything, I'm still making about $10 off of each unit of that product that I sell. And so it becomes very easy to do the math and figure out how much you have to sell to make X amount of money. So for example, with that product, if I sell 10 of them a day, I'm making $10 in profit per unit. That means I'm making $100 a day in profit off of that one product alone. And I don't just have one product. I have 6 different products that I sell on Amazon. So just to give you a little bit of an example of how you can scale your business, you have to kind of think of it as, how can I create this brand where I can have multiple products that will each bring me in a certain amount of money per month. That's the smartest way to approach this business. But obviously, you have to start with that first product and then you kind of grow yourself from there. And so I've got lots of tips and advice for getting started with Amazon. But I don't want to just ramble. Trust me, I can sit here and talk about Amazon for like 24 hours straight, literally. There's so much I could say, but I do want to focus on what you guys want to know. So if you have a question, please put it in the chat. That way I can, kind of focus this live more towards what you want to know. But aside from that, I can just kind of give you a little bit of information on my journey with Amazon. And then as you guys leave me your questions, I will just go ahead and kind of pause and answer your questions. So hopefully that will work out. Again, this is like my first real live on YouTube. So Sorry if it's not perfect. I'm just gonna try my best. Hi, Abby. Hi, how are you? Hope you're doing well. If you have any questions, let me know. So basically, I started selling on Amazon in 2019. It was January, and I was still working at my corporate job, hated my corporate job. It was probably the worst 3 years of my life, if I'm being honest. My mental health was in the worst position ever. Um, I had gotten into a car accident. It was like nothing was going right in my life. Have you ever had like that period of time in your life where it's like thing after thing after, like when it rains, it pours, like it was giving that. And so I had a lot of anxiety around my job, and I kept feeling like they were going to find a reason to fire me. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I just really felt a lot of stress around the security of my job. And I wanted to help my mom. I wanted to pay off my debt. Like, I had all these goals, and I was 25 at the time. So it's like, you know, you don't really know that much about life. And that was, let me not project, that was me. I didn't really know that much about life at the time, because that was before I was a mom. That was before COVID. I don't know if I can say it or if YouTube's going to act weird if I say it. But either way, I feel like I grew up a lot in the last 5 years. Not that fuzz just flying by my head. So yeah, realistically, 25 years old, didn't know anything about business. And I just decided like, hey, I'm going to try to sell on Amazon. I know that people make money doing this. If other people can do it, then that means I can do it too. Like, let me just give it a try. And it was a lot of trial and error. I did make a lot of mistakes before I got to the point where I was actually making money. But I do feel like when you compare different businesses, like starting a restaurant, or I don't know, getting a laundromat, or having, did I say restaurant already? Whatever it was that I said, you guys understand what I'm saying, just different forms of business. I feel like Amazon is the best for a beginner, simply for the fact that you have customers that are built in when you sell on Amazon. All the people who shop on Amazon, yes, they're Amazon's customers technically, but you get to sell to them too. So you kind of get a shortcut, the way that people who start their own stores on Shopify or Big Cartel, or they just sell on Etsy or whatever, you're going to not have as many people to sell to right off of the bat like you would with Amazon. So I do feel like if I'm a beginner and I want to make money and I want to make a lot of money, I'm going to go to the place where everyone is shopping. And it's Amazon. I mean, it's a fact. So anyway, that's something that really stood out to me and a really big reason why I wanted to do this business model in particular. Okay, let me go to the chat real quick here because I can see a couple of questions. L asks, how do you market and advertise your products? So Amazon has a feature called Amazon PPC, or pay per click. And with Amazon PPC, basically what it allows you to do is to have your listing be shown to more people. So I'm going to actually just show you here real quick. I'm sure for any of you who shop on Amazon, you have seen an ad before. Maybe you didn't realize it was an ad, but it was. And I'm just going to click on a random product so I can show you what I am talking about here. Let me type in hair oil. Okay, so for example, do you see how right here it says, oh, where's my finger? It's backwards. You see how right here it says sponsored? That means that that's an ad. So essentially, the person who is selling that product, they have paid for that visibility. So for them to be at the top of the page and the first thing that I see when I type hair oil, they're paying for that. So that is how you would advertise your products, is with Amazon ads. Now, what I will say is that the amount of money that you're going to spend on your ads will have a big effect on how much money you actually profit. So how much money that you make in sales is not the same as how much money you are actually going to profit, meaning what Amazon is going to pay you. So for example, with me, I do about $190,000 a month in sales on Amazon. Does Amazon direct deposit $190,000 into my account? They do not. I wish it did. But obviously, that's not how it works. You have to account for the cost of your ads, the Amazon fees, blah, blah, blah. So when all of that is said and done, I make about 34% on average per month off of that total dollar amount that is sold. the reason that I'm bringing that up is if you are spending a lot of money on your ads, that is going to eat away at your profits. So I do pretty well with my ads, and that's why my profitability is healthy. There are some people who sell on Amazon or who have businesses in general who have a profit margin of 10%. I mean, that is, to me, that's low because my profits are higher than that. But that is not unheard of. Some people do have just lower profit margins. But I encourage you to look for products where the competition is low, because low competition will then mean that you don't have to spend as much money on your advertising, which means you get to keep more of the money that you're making. Does that make sense? You spend less, meaning that you are getting to keep more money in your pocket. And so Amazon PPC is something that is like an art and a science in a way. There are strategies, but it also comes down heavily to your product and how you have differentiated and what your listing looks like. All of that will have a big impact on um, how productive your ads are, right? If somebody has a terrible product, let's call it hair, for example. So if someone is selling wigs on Amazon and they have terrible quality wigs, it doesn't really matter how much they advertise the product. They could spend $10,000 a month advertising the product, but it doesn't mean that they're going to make money, because probably all of the money that they're spending on advertising, one, is going to take away from how much money they're making. And two, once people actually receive the product, they know that it's a bad product and they're going to get negative reviews. Once they have negative reviews, let's call it a 4-star rating or a 3.5-star rating, even if they continue to pour into their ads, it's not going to convert into sales. And so therefore they're not going to be very profitable because the listing itself has bad reviews, or maybe the price point is too high, or whatever. There's lots of different components to it. So I know that was a long-winded answer, so I apologize for talking so much, but I wanted to give you a thorough enough answer. Well, the short answer is Amazon PPC. The long answer is everything I just explained. Okay, let's keep on going. Help. What do you need help with, Isabel? Hi, Abby, watching from the UK. Hello, how are you? How do you brand a product without imitating an existing product? For instance, I'm ordering some Converse All-Star shoes and the manufacturer asks if I want to place the logo of an existing brand. How do you brand a product without imitating an existing product? You can imitate an existing product. That's the beauty of private label. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to create something from scratch. You are basically taking inspiration from a product that already exists and making it better. So with your example of ordering Converses, yes, Converses already exist, and yes, they already have their own logo. When you want to create your own version of it, you would put your logo on it. But not only do you want to brand it with your stuff, you also want to make it better in some way. So how is your version of these Converses going to be better than the existing version? Because you have to be real and understand that Converse, the brand, already has an audience. They already have customers. They already have brand loyalty. So you coming in as a private labeler and you don't have Converse, you have Beano's, I'm just going based off of your name. No one knows what that is. No one has any reason to want your product over the one that exists. So what are you doing to make your product more appealing? Do you give people an extra pair of shoelaces? Do you have some unique design? Do you have some kind of cool colorway that no one else has? You have to differentiate your product. And that's essentially going to be the difference between why someone would pick yours versus what already exists. Does that answer your question? Okay, next question. Oh, wow, you're live this late. Hey, Abby, it's 11:35 here Eastern. Hello to you. I know it's late. Well, it's later for you. I'm on the West Coast, so it's only 8:42 over here. And I'm live right now just to kind of experiment, see how I feel about YouTube lives. I do go live on Instagram a lot more often. So if you guys are liking the live format and being able to just ask your questions on the spot, definitely follow me on Instagram because I do it pretty often over there. But yeah, anyway, let's keep on going here. Which is the preferred accounting software? Accounting software. I mean, it depends on what stage you're at in your business. I think in the beginning, you don't even need accounting software, to be honest. You can keep track of your expenses with a spreadsheet. In my step-by-step program, I provide a spreadsheet to my students. It just kind of has different tabs that lays out like, what are your expenses? What are you actually bringing in, different things to account for when it comes to tax time. Those are things that you want to track. But if you're only doing a couple $1,000s a month, you don't really need an accounting software. I think that once you scale and your business is doing bigger numbers, then you might want to invest in something like a QuickBooks. You probably want to have a bookkeeper or maybe an accountant that you're paying. But you can take your time and grow with your business. I think a lot of people who are starting out, not just with Amazon, but with business in general, there's like such a race to get to the point where you're doing all these things that businesses do. I need to have a dedicated website. I need to have business cards. I need to have an LLC. I need to have a trademark. It's like, you don't need to have all of that. You just need to start selling product and start actually making money so that it makes sense for you to spend your money and your time on all of the business things, all of the official things, all of the legitimate things. No, it's 2024. You don't need to have an LLC to start a business. You can be a sole proprietor. It's 2024. You don't need to have a trademark. Just pick a name that no one else is using. Once you start making money, then go ahead and get your trademark. There's no rush to do things like the official way. I just think it's a waste of time. You should be prioritizing picking a good product so you can start making money ASAP and then do all the other, incorporations and all of that other stuff later on. So that would be my advice. But what do I know? I just make over $1 million a year. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. You guys have to get to know my personality a little bit. Once we're live a couple more times, you'll get it. I'm a little sarcastic. Okay, let's keep on going here. Next question says, LOL, I'm on the top carousel in videos for that oil, by the way. What? I'm on the top carousel. What do you mean? Like here? Or am I not understanding what you're saying? What? That's crazy. Okay, let's see. Yes, thanks a lot. You're very welcome. Help with everything. How do I even start? I would recommend that you watch my free training. It's about an hour long, and that is going to answer your question of like, what even is this? How do I even do it? I think that that would be a good place. But I would say that the very best place to start would be by making your Amazon account. I mean, that's step one. You need to have that account. The Amazon seller account you can create by going to the website sell.amazon.com. And when you're on there, you're just going to basically follow the prompts. It's going to ask you your name, your address, all the basic stuff. And then it's going to ask you to do kind of what they call a tax interview. So they're going to want your tax information. So here's the most important thing when you are creating your Amazon seller account is that you have to let Amazon know the structure of your business. So they're going to ask you, what is your business type? So all they're asking is, are you incorporated? Are you an LLC or some other business entity? Or are you selling as a sole proprietor? That's basically what they want to know. The reason they want to know that is when you get to the tax portion, they have to know what types of documents to ask you for. So if you are a sole proprietor, for example, they're going to ask you for your ID. They're going to ask you for a bank account statement, your utility bills, something like that, so that they can verify who you are. Now, if you already have an LLC and you want to sell under your LLC, or maybe you create one specifically for your Amazon business, then they're going to ask you for your articles of incorporation. They're going to ask you for your EIN, things that are pertaining to your business. So that's the thing that's most important to make sure you get right when you're going through that process. And then mostly at the end, a couple different things can happen, but most likely what will happen is that they're going to send you a postcard in the mail to your address. Make sure you put your address in correctly. Sometimes people don't. The postcard is going to go wherever you put. So if you mess up the numbers, it's going to go to whatever address that is, and it's going to just mess you up. So make sure that you put the correct information in. And after you get that postcard, you can set up an interview with an Amazon employee. This interview is very easy. It's not anything to be stressed out about. All they want to do is make sure that you are who you say you are. So they're going to ask to see your documents again. Hey, can you show me your ID? Can you hold it up like this? Can you bend it like this? They just want to make sure that you're not a scammer. That's really all it is. After that, you will be approved to sell on Amazon. So I would say that that is the best first step. And then from there, you're going to start looking for products to sell on Amazon. I've got tons of videos here on my channel showing you how to do product research using a software. The software that I prefer and the one that I use and rave about, because it's literally, I feel like one of the biggest contributing factors to me building my business to where it is now, to hitting that first 10K month, that first 100K month, that first $1 million year. It all came down to product selection. And so you want to have a really good tool that allows you to be able to see all of the numbers, all of the data. So Helium 10 is what I use. I have it linked in the description of this live. I think there's a description. I don't know. The way that it looks to me, I'm sure it looks very different from how it looks to you guys. So let me know. Is there a description portion like with regular videos? If there is, then it's linked there. But yes, Helium 10 and product research would be the next step after you make your Amazon account. And then, like I said, that 60-minute training will kind of talk you through the rest of the steps. Okay, next question says, loving this. I'm glad, Elle. Thank you for being here. How do you teach what products to pick? Like, I have a juicer that gets lots of views, but no one purchased. How do you teach what products to pick? So just kind of piggybacking, ew, it's giving corporate, but basically I use that software that I just mentioned, Helium 10, and it shows me how much money the different sellers are making, how many units they're selling per month, what the average reviews are, what the average revenue is. All of that information gets is visible by using that software. What's going on here? Okay. Sorry, guys. But yeah, that's what I do. Which products to pick really comes down to what your goals are. The way that I teach Amazon FBA and my approach to it, especially with people who are complete beginners, is to sell whatever you have to sell in order to make the type of money that you want to make. So what that means is that you are not getting overly attached to the idea of a product, because the truth is a lot of the products that you guys are probably thinking you want to sell, the things that are in the beauty niche or maybe in the fitness niche and blah, blah, blah. A lot of those products are already saturated. They are already too competitive. And if you try to get into that niche, you're going to spend a lot of money on ads in order to get the traction that you're going to need to make that product successful. What you probably aren't thinking of is, the less popular or the less glamorous types of products, like things in the pet supplies niche or things in arts and crafts or, sports and outdoors. That's where your winning product might be. And you have to be open to the idea of selling whatever it's going to take for you to make that coin, right? We're all here, or I assume that we're all here to try to make some money. So I would urge you to take your feelings out of the equation, compartmentalize, and realize it's really, really important to focus on data when it comes to Amazon, because that's what Amazon is as a company. They're like all about numbers. They're all about data. They're all about analytics. It's all about logistics when it comes to Amazon. So if you go into it and you're very, very emotional and you're very much, having tunnel vision on a certain type of product, you are going to miss out on better products that you could potentially sell. And that's going to limit the amount of money that you can make. I'll tell you right now, of my 6 products, I'm not attached to any of them. Like, yes, I do have a certain fondness, I guess, because it's literally gotten me to where I am now in my life, living in this house and being able to help my family and paying off my debt and so on and so forth, has been made possible because of these products. But when I think about the actual product in and of itself, do I really care about it? No. I would sell whatever I had to sell to make the money that would sustain my life. You know what I mean? So, I think that that's an important facet of it. So I will just leave it right there, but let me keep on going. Next question is from Abdul. Hi, Abdul. It says, hello, Mrs. Abby. It's Ms. I'm kidding. Okay, I used to do FBA on the arbitrage side. I'm in the process of getting in the private label side of Amazon. What do you think would be the big difference between the two? When you say arbitrage, do you mean you were doing retail arbitrage or were you doing OA? Just out of curiosity. I'm going to assume that you're talking about retail arbitrage. And for those of you who are in here who are like, what is that? What are you talking about? Retail arbitrage is essentially where you go out and you source products from existing brands and existing stores. So, for example, if you've ever seen those videos on TikTok or Instagram where people are going to Five Below or the dollar store or the clearance section at Walmart, and they're scanning products trying to resell those existing products, that is retail arbitrage. So that is not a bad business model, but a few reasons why I would never do retail arbitrage and why I don't advise other people to do it is the simple fact that it is not very scalable and it is not very sustainable. Reason being is that you are physically having to leave your home. You need to go to the store. You need to find these products. You might find something really good that you can make a lot of money selling, but most likely you're not going to find a lot of them. So you might find one, two, three, five, maybe even 10 pieces of that one product. But what happens after you sell out of those 10? Now you're back out there trying to look for more products to sell. I just think it's a lot of work for not enough of a payoff, in my humble opinion. I feel like private label gives you so much more flexibility because you don't have a limit on the number of units you can sell. You do your product research, you find something that people want, and it doesn't matter how much demand you get because your supplier in China most likely will be able to provide as many units as you need. So you don't have to worry about, your product going viral on TikTok or becoming really popular and not being able to sustain the demand. You can always order more from your supplier. You have control over the branding. You have control over the price point. It just puts you in a much better position to make your brand an actual asset versus just how can I make the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. That's cool. And I know people who have that approach. I'm not saying you can't, but at the same time, if you want sustainability, if you want longevity, if you want to be able to, be 5 years in like I am and still being able to grow your business, I feel like it's important to, yes, make a lot of money now, but also think, how can I ride the wave as long as possible? And to me, it comes down to having your own assets, and a brand is an asset versus retail arbitrage. You don't have a brand. You're just selling other people's stuff. And that to me is very much risky, unreliable. Okay. This is not me trying to shit on retail arbitrage. I'm just saying that I prefer private label. Obviously, I'm biased. That's what I do. But yeah, those would be some of the key differences between the two. Now, I will say, because I am an honest queen, I am not going to sit here and lie to you. It is an easier and lower barrier to entry to do retail arbitrage simply because you're not buying products in bulk. So you don't need that larger dollar amount to get started with your products. So I do understand why some people opt for that. But if it were me, I would just try to save as much money as I can to invest in that bulk amount because that is going to give you the best chance at growth and actually having something substantial. I don't know that many people that make great money doing retail arbitrage, but I know a lot of people that make great money doing private label. Anyway, rant over, but hopefully that gave you some information to work with. Okay, Amazon influencer program. What is your question? Hold on, let me see, because I think you did ask. Oh, okay. You're at oh, that is so funny. What are the chances that I type hair oil? That's funny. I know people who do the Amazon influencer program and make stupid money. So I know that you can definitely do well with that. I think, if you're the type of person that doesn't mind being on camera and obviously want to / are good at social media, then yeah, the Amazon influencer program makes a lot of sense. I feel like what I do with private label is really good for that person who does not want to be on camera, that person who, wants to be behind the scenes, who doesn't want to have to show up every day. And this is not me being shady at all, because you can make great money doing that too. I just think that, not everyone is cut out for it. And also not everyone wants to, be on camera on a regular basis. So there's something for everyone. So Let me keep on going here. What makes you offer free training? Does that lead to paid training? Just trying to understand what you get out of offering it for free. I teach because I enjoy it. Obviously, I have paid products and I don't hide that because that's not a secret to me, at least. Why do I offer it for free? Because not everyone can afford my paid training, and that's fine. I mean, it's never pressure. I'm not going to sit in here and be like, you guys have to buy my program if you want to be successful. Not true. Because I didn't take a program and look at me. Like, I am the biggest proof that you can do it without. It's more so for the people who want that extra attention, the people who want that mentorship piece from me. So it's just a matter of preference. And when it comes down to why I teach, it's because I like it. It might sound, I don't know how it sounds, but it's the truth. I don't have to teach Amazon. I do it because I enjoy it, and I do it because realistically, it also diversifies my income too. I make a lot of money from Amazon. It's a blessing, thank God. But at the same time, I think it's always smart to put your eggs in multiple baskets and have multiple streams of income. And that's why I enjoy Amazon so much, is because it has given me the cash that I needed to start these other businesses. So I've been able to invest in real estate. I've been able to, start other businesses. I've been able to travel so much more than I ever imagined, retire my mom, have multiple homes. Like, there's just so much I've been able to do that stemmed from starting with Amazon. So if I can help other people learn how to do it, it doesn't take anything away from me. Like, I've been teaching Amazon for 4 years. Every year I have made more and more money with my Amazon business. So it doesn't hurt me to tell you guys how to do this. So it's a big thing for me as far as my personal fulfillment and the, I guess, happiness that I get out of life is being able to help other people do it too. Truly, it might sound corny, but it just is what it is. I come from a long line of educators. Like, a lot of people in my family have been teachers. So this is not traditional teaching, but maybe it's just in my blood. I don't know, honey. Okay, let's keep on going here. Where can I find your free training? It is linked in the description of this live, I guess. I'm not sure what it looks like to you guys. Like, to me and I see the chat and nothing else. But can y'all just let me know, do you see a description box? If you do, that's where it is. If you don't, um, I'll put a link in the chat, but it'll just be easier if you can see it there. Okay, let's keep on going. I know the pricing varies, but can I start with around 3K? For sure. For sure. It really is going to depend on the product that you choose, but you can find really low cost products. I've got people in my program who have started with really cheap products, like $1 a pop, 50 cents a pop, $2 a unit. So realistically, what you're going to want is to start with 500 units. That is my personal recommendation. Some other Amazon mentors, coaches, gurus, I hate that word. I don't feel as though I'm a guru. I just feel like I'm someone who learned how to do something really well. And I teach you guys how to do it. But, I'm a regular person. I'm a mom. I'm an older sister. I'm a daughter. I have my lazy days. Like, I'm a regular person. I don't like the glamorization or, like, putting regular people on a pedestal just because they make a lot of money. It doesn't, I'm still a person, and you guys can also do the same thing that I'm doing. I'm not any better than you. I'm not smarter than you technically. I just learned how to do something. It's a skill. And so any skill can be learned, in my opinion. Anyway, with that being said, what question was I trying to answer? One thing about me, I'm going to go off on a tangent and forget my thought process. You were asking me, if you can start with 3K. So yes, it's going to come down to the product that you sell. You multiply the cost of that product by 500, and that's going to be the bulk of the money that you need to start your Amazon business. However, you are going to want to have some money set aside for your ads, like we've already mentioned. How much money you need for that depends on how competitive your niche is. The less competitive your niche, the less money you're going to need to get started. The more competitive, the more money you're going to need to get started, which is why I beat it to death that you should not have a product that is in an overly competitive niche, because I don't want you guys having to spend all your money on ads. That's silly. And it's really it's just going to come down to that. Now, I will also say that I have students in my program, and I've personally also launched products that I never had to run a single ad for because the competition was so low. When people have less options, it makes it so that you don't have to try that hard. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you go to Target and you're looking for I don't know, a teddy bear for your kid, and there are only 3 options of teddy bears, I mean, you have a pretty good chance of getting picked versus if you go into Target and there are 30 teddy bears to choose from, that's a lot of competition, right? So it really comes down to that. I would focus heavily on low competition items or niches. Okay, let's keep going. I just got approved to sell on Amazon. Congratulations. What are the next steps I should take? Should I invest in your mentorship program before investing in the products to sell? For sure. I think if you're going to invest in my program or anyone else's program, do that first, because the last thing you want to do is to go and pick a product and not knowing what product to pick, not knowing what makes a good product versus a bad product. And now you have already placed an order with a supplier. Then you join my program and I say, hey, this is my list of 199 products to avoid, and the product that you have already placed a down payment for, a deposit for, is at the top of my list. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to regret that. You want to do your product research with the most amount of knowledge, and you want to know the specifics of what you should be looking for before you get into that. Now, again, I'm not sitting here telling you guys you have to buy my program to do product research or to have a successful business. You can watch my free videos, you can watch my free training, you can, join these lives and ask me questions. You can DIY it. It's just going to take a little bit more time and it's a bit more risky because you could make a mistake along the way versus the program that kind of just lays everything out for you. So the way that I look at it when it comes to should I invest in the program, should I not, it really is a matter of what is most important to you. Is it your time or is it your money? If your money is the most important thing to you, or let's say you have a super tight budget and you just can't afford it, that's fair enough. You're going to spend more time learning how to do this. You're going to be watching YouTube videos. You're going to be Googling things a lot of the times. So you're going to spend more time, and that's kind of how you're paying. But on the flip side of that, you invest the money into the program, you're already going to know what to avoid, what you should be doing, what steps to follow. You can, at least with my program, ask me questions. You can join our Zoom calls once a week. There is a lot more support and it's a lot more comprehensive. And so if you're someone who has a little bit of trouble with accountability, no shade, I'm that person too, a program would make more sense for you. It all depends on the person. It depends on your level of motivation. And you spend the money, but at the same time, you're kind of getting a shortcut versus the person who does not. So there's no right or wrong answer. It really just depends on you. Okay, let me keep going here. There are more questions. Question answered. Thank you. You're welcome, Abdul. Also, is there a difference between private labeling and FBA? Yes. So I'm glad you're asking this question because I do think that people get it confused sometimes. So let me just try my best to explain it. FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. That's the method of fulfillment. That is how your products are getting from the Amazon fulfillment center to the customer. It's fulfilled by Amazon. What that means is that your products get delivered straight to the Amazon fulfillment center. They store the products and then they are the ones who package them up and then take them to the customers for you. You don't do anything. You pay Amazon, but physically you don't do anything. So, for example, right now we've been on this live for 48 or 38 minutes. I have made, let me check real quick. On one of my accounts, let me count. 6 sales in the last 40 minutes on one of my Amazon accounts. During that time, I have not, that was the first time I looked at my phone. I haven't had to push a button. I haven't had to do anything. I don't have to print out shipping labels. I don't have to do anything. Amazon automatically is now going to start processing those orders. They're going to find, what is the closest fulfillment center to this customer that lives in Florida? Do we have one of these items in Florida? Do we have to grab one from Georgia? Do we have to how far do we have to go to get this product to the customer? So Amazon starts to do what Amazon does best, which is logistics, and they figure out how they're going to get it to the customer within 2 days so that they can, you know, live up to the prime shipping promise essentially that they have for these products. So uh, it's definitely different from private label. It's like comparing apples and oranges. The comparison that you might make to FBA would be FBM, which is fulfillment by merchant, meaning you are the one who is doing your own fulfillment. So rather than paying Amazon to do it, you are deciding to do it yourself, which I do not recommend at all. One, because it's a lot of work, and who has time for that? If you guys are anything like me, yes, you want to make a lot of money, but you want to make a lot of money with the least amount of work. I don't understand or know why anyone would want to do physical labor. It's just not, that's not conducive to a business that will give you your time freedom, right? If I am selling thousands of units per month in my business, and every time someone places an order, I have to then go and print a shipping label, and then I have to put it in a box, and then I've got to tape it up, and then I've got to go to the post office. No, that doesn't seem like a lot of work, and it's not if you're only doing 3 of them a month, but that's not going to give you the type of money that you want. So you're going to want to be selling hundreds of units, thousands of units, and at that point, that's not a good use of your time to be sitting there doing the actual physical shipping and handling of these products, which is why you outsource it to Amazon. You allow them to do it, and you spend your time growing your brands, and that is how you're going to be able to make a lot of money. At least that's the way that I have done it, and all of the people that I have taught who have gotten to the points where they've quit their jobs or sent their kids to college or paid off their debt or whatever else, those people have had that same approach. Like, how can I outsource the things that are essentially a waste of your time? I hate to say it like that, but it's not a good use of your time to be doing your own deliveries. Okay, let me move on because again, I can be long-winded, but that is the fulfillment side of it. So FBA versus FBM, that is comparing apples and apples. Now, the other part that you asked, private label is a business model. So there are lots of different ways that you can sell on Amazon, lots of different business models that you can use. For example, you can do retail arbitrage, which is what I mentioned before. You go to Five Below, you go to the dollar store, you buy products that are on clearance, and then you resell them on Amazon for a higher price. Very time intensive, very much something that is not going to make you rich. Like, let's just be real. It's rare that you're going to, get super impressive or life-changing results from retail arbitrage. Another method of selling would be something like wholesale. Wholesale is where you sell other branded products, but you are buying directly from the brand. So for example, if you wanted to wholesale Vaseline from the brand. Well, I don't know if the brand is called Vaseline. Yeah. I don't know what company sells it, but you would basically have to get permission from that company to sell their branded products. And there's a whole process to it. It's just too much work for me for not a lot of return, because at the end of the day, it's still not your product. You don't own it. So if they decide tomorrow, I don't want you selling my Vaseline anymore, you have no leg to stand on. You just have to agree because it's not your product. You don't own it. You really have nothing to bargain with, if that makes sense. Versus if you are doing private label where you have your own branded product, it's your brand. No one can tell you that you can't sell it. You know what I mean? So again, it's kind of like that longevity factor. So the business models would be, again, private label, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale. Those are ways that you can sell on Amazon. And then FBA and FBM are methods of fulfillment. Does that answer your question? I hope it does, child. I just spent 10 minutes explaining it, so I hope that that made sense. Okay, let's keep on going. How long will it take to start seeing money, and roughly how much would I need to start? I've got a video on my channel, Isabel. I've explained it a few times, and I'm not mad at you because you probably didn't hear it. where I talked about how much money you need to get started. It depends on the product that you choose, but I do have a video here on my channel where I break it all down. So just watch that video. It'll answer your question thoroughly. And how long will it take to start seeing money? It depends on how quickly you launch your product. So for example, I've got students in my program who will, look for their product, maybe find their product within a week or two. They will then contact these suppliers, they'll get a sample, and then from there, it really is just a matter of how long your supplier will take to make your product and then how long the shipping time is. So when you're talking to these suppliers, for example, you'll ask them, how long is your lead time? That's the manufacturing time. How long is it going to take for you to make this product? They might tell you 7 days, they might tell you 14 days, they might tell you 30 days, they might tell you 60 days. I highly encourage that you find a supplier that has a 30-day or less lead time. That way you don't put yourself in a position where you are waiting forever for your product. Not that it matters as much for your first shipment, but when you have to restock and get more inventory, if they're taking 60 days, girl, that's going to take, like, you're going to be out of stock forever. And it's not the end of the world if you run out of inventory, but who wants to be sitting there knowing that they're literally missing out on money? Like, I had a couple instances where I've run out of inventory during Q4, like right during the holiday season. I was sick, absolutely sick. Because when you can see that a product is bringing you in, let's call it $600 in profit a day, if that product runs out of stock and every single day you're missing out on $600, like, you will be nauseous. Okay. So that's the importance behind having a supplier with a short lead time so that you can come back into stock as quickly as possible. And the reason that I'm saying that is because if you are talking to a supplier and their lead time is excessive, then obviously that's going to take longer before you were able to actually start selling. And then the shipping time also will have an effect. I think what you should aim for as far as shipping would be 4 weeks is reasonable. You can definitely get faster shipping. You just probably will have to pay a little bit more for that. So you have to weigh out your options, but I will say that you can start selling in as little as 2 months, but I think more realistic would be 3. You might be sitting here like, I can't wait that long to start selling a product and I want it to happen right now. There's no such thing as overnight success. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is a business or a side hustle, however you want to approach it. But ultimately, yes, it's going to take time to find the right product. Yes, it's going to take time for the product to be made. Yes, it's going to take time to get to Amazon. But guess what? Once your product gets there, if you have done a good job with your product research and you have a good launch strategy, there is no reason why your product shouldn't sell immediately and why you can't be profitable immediately. But it's one of those things where you want to kind of measure twice and cut once, then just pick some random terrible product, launch it, and now you're not making any money and you've already spent all of this time and energy on a bad product. So that would be my answer there. Okay, next question says, I need your help, appreciate your insights. Queen, I think I answered your question, but let me keep on going here. What if I'm signing up for an Amazon account but don't have any tax information as yet? Well, you have to have tax information because you exist. So what do you mean? Are you making an LLC or what's the actual situation? Hi, can you tell me how to send my own brand to Amazon, please? Yeah, if you have a brand already and you're just trying to send it there, then you're going to need to create your Amazon seller account. You'll need to create a listing for the product that you're trying to sell. And then you will need to create a shipment plan to send that product to Amazon. That shipment plan is going to tell Amazon how many units you're planning on sending. It's going to ask how or what the dimensions of the products are, what the dimensions of the cartons are, how much everything weighs. All of that will be a factor, and they will ask you for the specifics, and therefore you'll provide them with that. And that's how you'll know where to send the products. And Amazon will provide you with a shipping label as well. So that is that. Yes, the description box is there. Okay, perfect. So everything you guys need, including my free training, my program, everything is linked in that description. Thanks so much, Elle. I just need help how to sell my own brand on Amazon. Not sure how to go by it. Okay, that's the question I just answered. So hopefully you heard that, Christy. What does per unit mean? I'm so sorry for all the questions. Don't apologize, Isabel. It's okay, girl. That's why we're here. I'm here to answer your questions, so don't worry. When I say per unit, I mean for each individual item. So when you are starting your Amazon business, you want to start with 500 units of a specific product. So for example, if you were going to sell this clip-on light for your phone or whatever, you would want 500 units of this item. So it will be 500 of these little lights that you're going to be selling. So if I say that your product should be $2 per unit, what I'm saying is it should cost you $2 for each one of these that you buy. So if each one costs 200 and you buy 500 units, you would be spending $1,000 on your inventory. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. Okay. I know the key is based on the person wanting to genuinely do it, but wondering what you feel your success rate is for the people you train. I know the key is based on the person wanting to genuinely do it, but wondering what you feel your success rate is for the people you train. I don't feel anything because that would be me just making something up, and I don't do that. So I could sit here and say the success rate of my program is 90%. Like I could say anything, and realistically y'all wouldn't know if I'm telling the truth or not. But for me personally, and the way that I run my every business that I have is where I can sleep at night. I'm not one of these coaches that is going to say anything to you to get you to join. I'm not going to lie to you to get you to join. I'm going to tell you the truth. And obviously my goal here is to motivate you and inspire you so that you know that you can do it. But ultimately for me, a success rate in a program is something that's very, very hard to track, because in order to know a percentage, for example, that means that I would need every person that joins to report back to me. So right now, for example, in our Facebook group, we have 1,400 people. In order for me to say that the success rate of my program is 85%, that would mean I have to know how every single person has done to give you an accurate answer. There's no way for me to know that, because I don't force anyone to tell me how they're doing. I don't force anyone to share any information with me. The way that I see it is if someone pays me to learn from me through my program, they have paid me a dollar amount and my job is to teach them. So past that, they don't owe me anything. I can ask, hey, how's your business doing? Like, do you mind sharing a screenshot of your sales or whatever? I can ask them for it, but they don't have to give it to me, and I'm not going to harass anyone. So that is my honest answer. Again, I could sit here and I could just throw out a random number, and I mean, you guys could believe it or not, but for me, I try my best to speak with accuracy. I have a lot of integrity. I mean, I don't know about other people on the internet. I don't know about other people who teach Amazon, but for me, because I make great money from Amazon, it puts me in a position to where I don't have to compromise. I don't have to lie. I don't have to say anything that's untrue to sell my program, because the truth is, with or without my program, my lifestyle stays the same. So I am blessed that I'm in that position that I can be honest and not have my livelihood depend on whether or not I get you to buy my program. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hopefully that answers your question. It's just the way that I approach it. So, okay, let's keep on going here. How do I register for the mentorship program? It is linked in the description. So you can see all of the details, everything that's included, testimonials, reviews, all of that good stuff are over on the program website. So you'll see all of that when you click it via the link in the description. Do you offer one-on-ones though? I do not offer one-on-ones because I am one person. And there are a lot of people who want that one-on-one help. And as much as I would love to be able to do that, it's just not practical for me to be able to do that. So that is why I teach my program. That way I can help more people in kind of more of a group setting. So the way that it works, when you enroll in the program, you get access to our private Facebook group. You get 17 hours of step-by-step video tutorials. I show you how to make your accounts. I show you how to do your product research. I show you how to communicate with your suppliers. I give you templates. I give you PDFs. I give you literally everything that you could need to be successful with this business. And then also me as a mentor. So you'll be be joining. Well, you'll have the opportunity. I can't make you, but we have weekly Zoom calls. I answer questions in the group. I do product reviews, so on and so forth. So all of that would be part of the program. But like I said, it's not one-on-one, because I would just be on one-on-one calls all day long. And I didn't become an entrepreneur to be on one-on-one calls all day long. So that is the answer there. Okay, let's keep on going. As a beginner, is it better to start off with FBA than do private labeling? So I think this question probably was asked before I did that whole explanation of apples and oranges. So the winning combination in my mind and in my experience is FBA and private label together, because with private label, your supplier will make your products. They will, manufacture everything, and then Amazon will deliver it. So that kind of makes it so you're very hands off physically with your business. You're hands on in the sense that you're the one making the listing. You're the one who is putting it on Amazon. You're basically the puppeteer of the business, but you're not actually physically doing anything. So that's why I like using both of them together. Do you need separate accounts to sell different/unrelated products? No, you can sell multiple products under one seller account. You can have multiple brands under one seller account. So it's completely up to you on how you want to structure it. I will say that for me, I have 2 different seller accounts and 2 different brands on Amazon. I've got 3 under each. And I did it that way because I wanted to be able to build essentially 2 different assets that I could sell separately when the time comes. So I've had, valuations done on both of my brands, and I could walk away today from each of my brands individually for 7 figures. And it makes sense, because normally the way that they value a business is a multiple of the yearly sales. If I'm doing $1 million in sales, then obviously if I were to sell it, it would be a multiple of that dollar amount. Does that make sense? So for me personally, it made sense to separate them out, but I will just let you guys know that Amazon does not like for you to have multiple accounts. It's possible, but you will have to have separate LLCs. You will have to have separate bank accounts. You will have to have separate everything in order to have more than one. So yes, it's possible, but no, it's not mandatory or necessary. That helped, LOL. Thank you. You're welcome. Do you think Amazon FBA is oversaturated? Not at all. Not at all. Just migrated to the US. So are you waiting for like a social security card or something? Let's see. You're welcome, Isabel. Abby, I just started FBA. I made about 50K last month. Any tax advice? Well, congratulations. I love to see it. Or any advice, period. I could DM you on Instagram if you would prefer. Yeah, you can DM me. But I'm not an accountant, so I can't actually give like legal tax advice. All I can really say is what I do and what I have learned. But again, disclaimer, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a tax professional, but I would definitely say to make sure you get an accountant, and you should have an accountant. If you just did 50K last month, your numbers are only going to grow. So you definitely want someone who knows what they're doing, kind of keeping track of everything and making sure that you are deducting every single thing that you can. Definitely make sure that your tax person is deducting kind of the biggies as far as your expenses. Obviously, the advertising would probably be a pretty big expense, I would assume. I don't know what your business looks like, but that would be something. You can deduct your seller account fees, any softwares that you're using. Literally anything to do with your business can be deducted. The home office tax deduction, something that you can definitely do. What else? Yeah, I'll just leave it there so I don't go too much into detail. But if you have a specific question, let me know. Okay, I would like to be a prime seller that offers free shipping. How do you go about doing that? So when a customer gets prime shipping, it's because you on the back end as the seller are doing FBA. So FBA is what we've been talking about this whole time, where the products go directly to Amazon and then Amazon sends it to the customers. So if you are part of the FBA program or you have your products set to FBA, that means that Amazon is already in possession of the products. Therefore, when someone purchases the product, Amazon already has it. And so Amazon can immediately start prepping it and shipping it out to the customer. So my voice is like getting a little raspy, maybe it's because I'm talking so much. But yeah, where was I going with that? Yeah, that's how you do it. You use FBA. And then when you are using FBA, then your listing is automatically prime. So that is that. I appreciate your honesty sincerely. Of course, I'm here to just speak facts. That's all I can do. Estimate on startup costs. I have a video here on my channel that breaks down the costs for you, Odessa. So definitely check out that video. LOL, I understand. Thank you so much. I love FBA. The tax part is definitely stressing me out, though. Yeah, for sure. You said that you just started selling on Amazon. So did you just launch last month, or what do you mean by you just started? I'm just curious. Because obviously we are in April now, 3 months into the year. I'm wondering if you started last year or this year, because technically if you started, well, no, I'm thinking like further, and this is probably something you want to consider later once you're talking to your accountant. But definitely look into potentially doing kind of an S corp setup for your LLC if you have one, um, because that will definitely reduce your taxes if it's set up the right way. You would just be paying yourself as an employee of your business, rather, oh my goodness, rather than taking draws from the business. So I paid like a lot more in taxes before I was set up as an S corp. So just something you might want to look into. Okay. What are your thoughts on Facebook ads? Oh, and also make sure you're putting money away for your taxes as well, because Amazon does not deduct it. You are 1099, you're a contractor, they don't withhold any taxes. So make sure you don't go spend all 50K, honey, because you're gonna need some money for your taxes. Okay. What are your thoughts on Facebook ads? If you don't do it personally, does Jay do Facebook ads and can coach it? Um, my thoughts on Facebook ads is that I understand why people do it. I personally do not. I don't see a necessity for it because PPC is so much more effective, in my opinion. Um, PPC puts you in a position to where you're marketing towards people who are already shopping on Amazon versus Facebook ads. You're targeting kind of an outside audience. So it's just like a different approach. And from what I have seen and heard, Facebook ads can be really, really expensive for potentially not as much effectiveness or efficacy, I should say. And does Jay teach Facebook ads? He teaches PPC. I don't know if he teaches Facebook ads actually. Now that you're mentioning it, I don't actually know. But you can reach out to him on Instagram and he can answer that for you. I also bought a Tesla Model X the same year I started my business. Can I deduct that since it is over 6,000 pounds? You have to be careful. You have to be careful because with a deduction of a vehicle, technically, and again, I am not an accountant, but technically that vehicle needs to be used for business purposes. And if you're doing FBA, what is the business purpose of the vehicle? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Like, you need to have a good explanation just in case just in case you were to be audited. I'll just say that. Which is why it's always really smart to start a side business so that with whatever you're making from Amazon, of course, it's a great business model because you do it from anywhere and Amazon holds your inventory. So there are certain places where you're not paying as much as someone with a different business model, but at the same time, it doesn't give you as much flexibility when it comes to certain business advantages. So for example, if you had a business that required you to leave your house, then it would be a no-brainer to write off the vehicle. Or if you had a business that required you to have clients of sorts, you could expense your meals or potentially some of your travel. You know what I mean? So that's another reason why it's advantageous to have multiple streams of income so that you can get as many benefits as possible. Because truth be told, the more money you make, the more you pay in taxes, and you have to try to find creative ways of lowering your perceived income. Sorry for being vague, but you never know who's watching. All right. That is that. How much monthly revenue do you suggest before starting an S Corp? Monthly revenue. I wouldn't really go off of revenue. I would definitely more so go off of profit, because you could be doing 100K in revenue, but if your margins are really, really tiny, let's say you have a 10% margin on 100K, you're only profiting 10K, which, I guess at that point you could still, set it up as an S Corp, but the numbers are smaller than they may seem when you go based off of revenue. If I was profiting 10K or more, maybe even 5K or more, you could get away with it. But the thing is, when you're set up as an S Corp, you're paying yourself as if you're an employee. It doesn't matter if you're the only employee, but you have to pay yourself a reasonable wage. So this can be a little bit tricky, and it's something that, my CPA and I had to kind of like figure our way around, because for me, I'm like, I want to pay myself 50K and this is like profit. This is what I want my salary to be, 50K a month, which is obviously a lot of money. So it's like, is that reasonable? Well, I'm the CEO of $1 million company. So it's reasonable to me, but it has to make sense with the numbers. You know what I mean? So if your business is bringing in 10K a month, for you to pay yourself 10K might be a little bit unreasonable, because you're paying yourself the entire amount that the business is bringing in. But if my business is bringing in 200K in revenue and I'm paying myself 50K, it doesn't look like that makes sense, because it's only a percentage. Am I making sense? This is why I'm not a CPA. I'm an Amazon seller. Okay. I do have an LLC, and what is the market facilitator tax for that Amazon withholds? I thought that was the tax. What is the market facilitator tax for that Amazon withholds? You just started in December, so you wouldn't, how much did you make in December? Because with Amazon, the 1099 that they don't send it out. It's available through your seller account. It's for the previous year. So and I think they only give you a 1099 if you did like 20K or more or something like that. So I think it would depend on how much you made last year, but obviously you're more so planning for this upcoming year, because if you're at 50K now, it's going to continue to grow. And then you would be wanting to set aside, a percentage. I would say like a quarter to a third would be good. A third is more generous, but I personally would rather save too much than not save enough and then have a huge tax bill. I remember, even like last year, how much did I pay in taxes? It was like a disgusting amount. It was like, 200K or so. I'll have to go back and look. Obviously, that's like a bit of a bigger scale, but again, you don't want to have a crazy, crazy amount of money that you're owing all at once. Technically, you're supposed to pay your taxes quarterly, but not everyone does that. Okay, let's keep on going. Is under $5,000 enough to get started with, including customization, logos, and photos? Yes, absolutely. I drive to pick up my merchandise in the vehicle. Oh, okay. You good then. I mean, talk to an accountant, but sounds like you're good to me. I do all of my products in store pickup. Oh, really? I have a whole business structure, but I don't want to lay it out all in the comments. I'll definitely DM you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there's more to it than I thought. I thought you were just doing kind of like basic FBA. Okay. So there's more complexity to what you've got going on. Please teach us PPC here, at least video. We want to know your insight and thoughts. Nope. I do not teach PPC on YouTube. It's honestly too complex for me to teach in a 30-minute video, and it is in my program. Like, that's really all I can say. There's a limit to how much I can teach and kind of put it on a super, super basic level that everyone would understand. And it just like, it doesn't make sense for me to do it here on YouTube. There are other people who do, so you could always feel free to watch someone else's video on PPC, but it won't come from me. Okay, next question. Going to purchase your course next week. Very excited. That's awesome. Excited to have you. You'll learn a lot. There's a lot of information in there, but of course you'll have the Facebook group and the weekly calls and everything else to kind of keep you on track. So awesome. Excited. I got it. Okay, cool. I DM'd you with all the info. I also saved most of my money. LOL, no worries. Nice. I feel like I was very similar. So like when I started making a lot of money on Amazon, which honestly was probably like in my second year, first year was a bit more modest, but it was enough for me to quit my job. Amen. And it was enough for me to move from Atlanta to California. And this was in August of 20. Well, I quit my job in July of 2019. And that is when I got pregnant right before COVID. And in 2019, my business did about 100K. In 2020, my business did about 750K. So it was a huge jump. I mean, that's like a multiple of 7 all in the course of 1 year. So it was a huge jump. And even from 2020 to 2021, I doubled my revenue. I went to like 1.34 million, I think was the final amount for that year. And the point that I'm trying to make is that it was a lot of scale. And for me, growing up as someone who did not have a lot and who never could even imagine these amounts of money, I was like, whoa, like, I don't know really what I should be doing with this. I mean, there were certain things that I did end up investing in that I thought were smart at the time, which they were. Like, for example, first big purchase I ever made was buying my mom a house, and that was in 2019. And so I was really, really proud of that. And I still have that house now. I'm actually looking for a tenant now because I upgraded my mom to a new house. And so that one's vacant. I'm going to rent it out and whatever. But even with that, it was exciting, but it was also scary because it's like I'm the first person in my family to actually own a house. And now I'm completely relying on my Amazon income to pay the mortgage and to sustain my life and, you know, all these other things. So realistically, even though I've been selling on Amazon for 5 years, this is my 6th year, I didn't start to actually like enjoy my money until about maybe 2 years ago is when I started to actually like feel comfortable and feel like I can spend this money. I was saving a lot of it as well. And also, you know, doing responsible things with it. I paid off all my student loan debt. It was like $40,000. Like I said, bought my mom that house. I paid off all my credit cards. What else did I do? I started to travel a little bit more. I'm trying to think. Not last year, because last year was 2023. 2022 was the year that I spent the most money on shopping, like designer items. Y'all had me in a chokehold every day. Louis, Dior. Like I was doing too much. It really was a little bit out of control. But the reason I'm bringing that up is it's important to find balance in anything in your life. And for me, it was like going from one extreme of like being broke my whole life to now suddenly making so much money that I didn't even really know what to do with it all, that I was being irresponsible. And I was just like, you know, buying all the stuff that I didn't even need. And a lot of times it wasn't anything that I even really wanted. It was more so just like a temporary hit of dopamine, like going in here and spending $5,000 or $10,000 on bags and jewelry or whatever. Like it made me feel good in the moment, but it's like I'm not really gaining anything from this. So in 2023, last year, I scaled back dramatically on the shopping. I still buy nice things, because it is what it is. You work hard, you want to enjoy your life. But I also started to spend it more on experiences. I started to spend it more on traveling. I spent a lot of money on travel because I like to stay in nice places. I like to be comfortable. I probably travel like 2 times a month now or so. So I kind of just rearranged my priorities and focused more on the things that brought me true happiness versus what was like surface level happiness, if that makes sense. But I am glad that I kind of learned my lesson and figured that out earlier or sooner rather than later. Yes, I spent like pretty much an entire year doing the most, but I feel like I got my fix of it and I was able to then scale back and kind of like balance myself out and start thinking like, okay, you could buy another bag or you could get your closet done. So like I redid my whole entire closet and I'm obsessed with it. I love the space and that was like a better use of the money for me. And even now my pool is now actually built. It's been like a 3 or 4 month process. I'm doing my whole backyard and um, it's like a better investment of my money to me because I get to enjoy it with the people that I love. Um, and it's something that I truly enjoy rather than just like something I can show off. Does that make sense? But anyway, again, another tangent, but the reason I'm talking about this is because I can see what you're saying with like, I'm saving a lot of my money because I relate to that. That's exactly what I did until I started to shift my mindset around money and kind of realize that just because I grew up with no money doesn't mean that I'm going to end up back in that place. And I think that was a big fear of mine is, what happens if like all of this goes away tomorrow? If I don't save my money, I'm never going to be in a position that I can be comfortable again. And I just really had to start working through kind of like my trauma when it comes to money and my attitude towards money and my mindset around money. Now I see it more as a tool and I see it as something that I can spend because I can always make more. And so it's given me kind of that mental and emotional freedom to actually enjoy things now. In the past, I'd be like, I would never spend that much money on a hotel room, or I would never fly first class or whatever because it's so stupid and such a waste of money. And um, I realized that my thoughts around that had a lot to do um, with like projection in a sense. Like I was saying that I will never do it. I'm saying it because I don't think I'll ever be able to afford it. So it was kind of like a defense mechanism almost to think or condition myself to think negatively about it or to think that it was stupid because I didn't think that I'd ever be able to actually do those things. So now that I'm in a position that I can do them, I'm like, it's okay. It's not a crime to want to stay in a 5-star hotel. Like it's not a crime to want to be able to like pick your seat on a plane. It takes time to work your way to the point where if you're someone who grew up poor and now you suddenly, it's not suddenly, I've been doing this for 5 years, but now you're in a completely different tax bracket. You're, building generational wealth. You're changing everything for your family and the people that you love. It can be tricky. I feel like I don't hear a lot of people talk about this very much when it comes to, well, now I've got this like responsibility on me. I'm the first person that has ever, considered these different aspects of wealth building that I was never taught. No one ever told me that you should have life insurance or that you should put your assets in a trust because it's going to be better off if God forbid something happens. Like no one taught me any of this. So I'm having to learn all of this. And sometimes it can feel like a lot, but what makes me feel better about all of it and what makes me feel good is knowing that I'm learning the things that I can then pass on to my kids and they can pass it on and they like every generation is just going to get better and better because it started with someone. And, if I have to be the guinea pig and I've got to be the one to kind of set the stage for everyone else, it's a blessing. I'm not going to complain about that. Even though sometimes I'd be like, dang, I wish there was someone here to tell me, like, is my financial advisor scamming me? Should I really be paying 3% to this like investment broker? It's a lot, honey. It's really a lot, but I'm just a girl. I'm trying to figure it out. But yeah, I will take the stress of having a lot of money over the stresses of not being able to pay my bills any day of the week. So I'll say that. Excuse me. Okay. Let's bring it back from my tangent. Okay. Thank you for the info as well. You are very insightful. You're welcome. Happy to help. I'm from Los Angeles and live in Atlanta. You can definitely help with my taxes. Okay. What I'm going to tell you right now is you need to move to a place with no state income tax. Straight up. I used to live in California. The way these people were robbing me. And so guess where I live now? Las Vegas, no state income tax, period. You could also look at Texas. You could also look at, Washington State, and there's a couple others, but yeah, my advice, move to a state without state income tax. 1.4 million in a year. Congratulations. Thank you. And yes, coming from damn near nothing. This is so crazy, right? Isn't it nuts? Like, to think, like, there was a certain time in my childhood, not to put my mom's business out there, but there were times where for an entire year, she would make like 20K in a year trying to support 3 kids. So now to be able to have like a week in my business where I make 20K with one Amazon, like, it's just nuts. And it really changes your perspective on, one, what a lot of money is, because before I'm thinking, wow, anyone that makes 100K a year, like, they're rich. And obviously inflation has kind of messed it up for everybody. But I used to just have this certain view that making money has to be difficult. Like, you've got to break your back if you want to have a lot of money. And it's been very life-changing for me to now realize that the people who are making the most money are not the people who are working the hardest. Like, that blew my mind. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I thought if you were going to make doctor money, you have to be a doctor. If you're going to make lawyer money, you've got to be a lawyer. If you're going to make, that type of cash, like, you have to go to school forever. You have to work 80 hours a week. That's what I thought. And so now, being in this space where I'm realizing the power of passive income, the power of working for yourself, the power of scaling businesses and having multiple streams of income, I'm like, oh, that's how people are doing it. Like, working at my corporate job, I'm like, how are people just like at yoga during the middle of the day? How are people just getting lunch in the middle of the day? Like, don't they have jobs? Don't they have work? And now I'm seeing it, because I'm very much that person to other people now, where I'm doing whatever I feel like on a random day. And they're like, don't you have a job? Like, what do you do for work? How, and it's just like, there's a way that you're taught to think about life and think about income and think about work and leisure. And it's very easy to kind of stay in that box. And I'm not blaming anyone, because for the longest time, that's the way that I thought, because that's the way that I was taught. It's all I had around me. So I feel like it's really important to be exposed to other ways of living and other ways of making money, so that you can see that there's more to life than just working 40 hours a week, to barely survive. Like, there's so many people right now who are struggling to even be able to pay their rent or pay their mortgage or feed their kids, because this whole system is not set up for the average person to live a comfortable life. And it's really messed up. But what I love is that, I've been able to kind of see the bigger picture. And I mean, I don't know if the person's still in here who asked me like, well, why do you teach for free? Like, that doesn't make sense. Not to be shady, but that's kind of what it gave. And I understand the criticism of it, or maybe like the doubt about it. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like I've like figured out the cheat code. Like, I know how to do it. And it does not hurt me to teach you guys how to do it, or for me to tell anyone how to do it. It doesn't hurt me. So why wouldn't I? I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer, but I guess maybe to other people, they're like, well, if you know how to do something and if you're making so much money, then why don't you just make your money? Like, why do you have to teach other people how to do it? But my thing is, why not? Like, why not? It does not hurt me. So anyway, y'all gotta get me together when I start going on my little spiels. Okay. I can't wait till I get to your level. I am keeping my head down first. The biggest purchase I made was my Tesla, and that was only because my gas expense would be cut. Thank you so much for the insight. You're so welcome. And don't ever feel guilty for making a purchase that makes sense for you. Like, I get that. Cutting down the gas prices be high, sometimes they're low, but it just fluctuates so much. There's a lot of uncertainty. So for you to invest, and probably in something that increases your quality of life. If driving a Tesla makes you feel good and makes you more happy as a person, which then will make you more productive and make you a better business person, that is a good investment in my opinion. That's the way that I see it. There are certain things that other people might not see the benefit of, and it doesn't matter because it's not their life and it's not their money and it's not their business. Like, however I decide to, kind of spend is up to me. But even by the way that you're asking your questions, I can tell that you are responsible and you're smart. Like, you're trying to approach this in the best way possible. So keep on doing what you're doing. I do advise, be conservative because you are still in the early stages. But if something makes sense, do it. I drive a Porsche. Guys, I don't know anything about cars. I don't know what a V8 is. I don't know nothing about the engine. I literally have the knowledge of a first grader when it comes to cars. Like, I know that it has wheels and I know where to pump the gas. I know nothing else about it. But for me, getting a car that was comfortable, a car that made me feel like that girl, that was something that was important to me. And it was a good investment. Even now, I've had it for 2 years. I love driving it. And it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. It makes sense to me, and I can afford it. So, okay, let's keep going. As a 22-year-old male, it is hard to contain myself, but I definitely will. You're 22 and you just did 50K last month. Congratulations. That is so awesome. I don't know you at all. And I'm 30, so I would like to say that we're not peers. I'm your elder. But I am very proud. It's giving proud mama. That is really, really great. And I think that it just goes to show that there are no limits on who can be successful with this. Like, you're super young. And you're getting started so early. You're 22 now, 50K in your third month of business. Imagine where you're going to be 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. Like, you're on such a great trajectory. But with that being said, there are other people who get their start later on. I didn't start till I was 25. I've got people in my program that are 30, 40, 50, retired people. I mean, it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your education, your background. And I think that that is one of the most beautiful things about being in the place that we are as far as opportunity to make money. Like, the internet has changed everything, not to sound like a boomer or a whatever. I mean, I'm a millennial, but I remember a time when the internet wasn't what it is now. I remember a time where we didn't have, access to Amazon to just bring us whatever we need in a day or 2 days or even same day. We didn't have the reach that everyone has access to now. And so I think a lot about what my life would be like if I would have never taken the chance to start selling on Amazon. Like, what would I be doing right now? I would still be miserable AF at my corporate job. I'm sure by now I would be at 100K or, definitely a 6-figure job. But would I be in a position to travel the way that I do? Would I be in a position to spend as much time with my son as I do? Would I be in a position to retire my mom? Would I be in a position to, just live a life of comfort? I was going to say luxury, but I guess comfort is a luxury, to be able to not worry about bills, to not worry about the price of anything. It's amazing, and I know what it's like on the other side of it too. It's not like I grew up with all of this like wealth and privilege and all of this stuff. I had to work for it, and it just gives you a different level of appreciation when you get to that point because you know what it took to get there. I say all that to say, though, I'm very proud of you. um, Money is a tool, not a toy, period. Love that. I'm low key paranoid about financial advisors too, right? I just be here like, I'm here because I literally don't know what I'm doing, and I have to fully trust that you are guiding me in the right way. So it can be very scary. And I think, like with anything else, your own education is really important. I would never say to just blindly trust someone with anything. It's important to vet the professionals, especially when you're paying them a percentage or a set amount. You want to make sure that they have your best interest. Obviously, they're getting paid, but sometimes people will prey on your ignorance, and you don't want to give them the opportunity. Unfortunately, most people are too lazy, even with the blueprint, even now, because of how young I am. And I'm being the first in my family. I am usually black sheep because of jealousy. It honestly makes me sad. Yeah, it can be really hard when you're the first. You're the trailblazer, you're the trendsetter. Okay, positive ways to look at it. You're not a black sheep. You are the trailblazer of your family. They can't understand it. They might hate on it because they're just ignorant. And what I have realized being in business for as long as I have, and having those people who doubt you or who speak negativity onto your decisions, they are projecting 1,000,000%. I will say it till I'm blue in the face. They're projecting because they are not brave enough to do what you're doing. They're not confident enough to take a risk or to put in that effort to learn a new skill, to do something that's not traditional or, outside of the box. So it's not that they actually don't think you can do it. They think that they can't do it. So it makes them feel better to tell you, oh, that Amazon thing, you're never going to make money doing that. Oh, you're never going to be able to um, like quit your job and be able to do that full time. They're not saying it because they don't think you can do it. Honestly, they're not even thinking about if you can do it or not. They just want to keep you right where they are. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to elevate. They don't want you to move up past them, because all that does for someone who is unhappy with themselves is that it highlights how miserable they are. When you start to move up and they're in the same place, they see you elevating and they hate it because they don't feel like they can do it themselves. It is sad, especially when it comes from people that you care about, because you want to believe that others would support you and would want to see you do well. Um, and a lot of times people will come around. I will say a lot of the people who doubted me are the same ones that are, can you teach me how to do it? Wait, how did you, they'll come around, and that's not your problem. You really only can focus on yourself and your vision and your future. And, if they start to get it, they get it. If they don't, they don't. But it's your life, and you have to make the decisions that are right for you. And they can continue to be miserable. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. So don't ever feel like it's your job to get somebody else to understand why you do what you do, or why you're even, "Well, that Amazon thing, it's so stupid. Why do you even bother?" That's none of your business how they feel about it. It is none of your business. Let them feel how they feel about it, and you keep on, focusing on your vision. And when you get there, you'll be glad that you didn't allow other people to disrupt what you had going on, or to cause chaos and confusion for you when you know what you need to do, you know? Um, I've been watching you for a few months on and off. This is my first time catching you live. Hi. You truly are a blessing. Oh, it's Queen. Okay. I don't know. I thought that was someone new. I told myself when I took your course, I wanted it to be my only focus during that time. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible to do multiple things at once. And that's the thing. This is real life. Again, I'm not someone who's just going to tell you whatever I need to tell you to get you to join. Like, no, that is not how I operate at all. I would never sit here and tell someone like, quit your job so you can sell on Amazon and just put all your eggs in one basket. No. My viewpoint is that yes, you should focus and you should put your energy into doing it and doing it well. But at the same time, again, this is real life. Like you probably still have bills and you should not be quitting your job to sell on Amazon until you have it making you enough money that it is sustainable for you to live off of it. And that doesn't mean that all it should do is match your previous salary. Because I had a point in time where my Amazon business was matching my 9 to 5 salary, but I didn't just quit the second I hit that number. No, I waited until I was making enough to cover the perks that I was getting at that job. So, for example, I had a company car. So, what is the value of that company car? I don't know, $500 payment per month. And I was getting insurance and I was getting free gas and I was getting, free meals, lunches, dinners, trips, like all this other stuff. So for me, it's like if I'm making 3K a month after taxes and everything else is deducted at my corporate job, and I'm making 3K in profit from Amazon, that's not an equal trade-off because I'm losing that company car, I'm losing the insurance, I'm losing X, Y, and Z. So now I need to be making $5,000 a month at least from Amazon to cover all of those extras. And if I hit that, then I'm only breaking even. So that's still too soon for me personally to leave. I need to be making a multiple. I need to be making 2 times as much or whatever before I'm truly, truly comfortable enough to leave. So that's kind of the way that I approached it myself. But the point that I'm trying to make is don't feel like you can't start your Amazon business and do other things at the same time. I was still working at my corporate job when I started. Most people who are in my program do both. They're either most of the time full-time students, just employed doing a full-time job. And I actually have a lot of people who are stay-at-home parents. So, excuse me, sometimes stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads, housewives, just people who are looking for something extra, looking to make a little extra money or bored at their corporate job. Maybe they don't hate it, but they're just bored and they feel like they want something else to supplement their income. Everyone has their own reason for wanting to start their own business, or starting a side hustle or whatever it is. So definitely don't be afraid to do both at once. And then when it makes sense, you go ahead and let go of that job and, focus on just your business at the time that you're able to make it make sense for your lifestyle. Okay, let's see here. What about tax if we are doing Amazon USA from a different country? Again, Amazon doesn't withhold any taxes, but I think that would only apply to US sellers. So my assumption would be that you would pay taxes in accordance to your country of residence. So that would be my guess. There was no doubt. Sorry if it came off that way. No, don't worry. I'm not upset. Trust me. If I was feeling some type of way, you would know. Not at all. I learned out of the sellers I watch. You're extremely honest, and I was so happy to see you online. This was my first time seeing you live. Of course, I am not upset with you, Queen. Don't you worry. Okay, I know you're a mom. How did you do it when your son came in 2020? Any tips to start this when I'm alone and tired, LOL, with only 2 hours available each night after my 1-year-old is down? Oh, girl. Those early stages were the worst. The lack of sleep can literally turn you into a zombie and a monster because you're irritable because you're not getting sleep. So I'm not sure if that's what you're experiencing as well. It can be really, really difficult when you want to make a change, but maybe after your regular job, you're just pooped when you get home. You don't have a lot of energy in you. And when you add kids in on top of that, it can be a lot of responsibility. My biggest piece of advice is if you are putting your heart and soul into your corporate job and you're spending a lot of emotional energy, just, trying to be the best at your job, and your manager, your boss is asking you to do extra things and you feel like you can't say no, and, you're not getting paid your worth anyway, I would say try to find every opportunity in every way that you can scale back how much energy you're investing in that job emotionally, mentally. If there's a whole bunch of BS at your job, which most corporate jobs or even 9 to 5 jobs, there's going to be BS. Coworkers that have no brain cells, managers that micromanage or that just are unfair or have favoritism. And, it can be so much that goes on. And sometimes you don't even realize how much of yourself you are putting into these people and these things that don't matter. You are going to your 9 to 5 for a check. Okay. And I know that that might sound harsh because some of you might be like, well, I want to have a career there and I really see a long-term vision. That's fine if that's you. I'm not saying you should not feel that way, but I'm talking about the people who are over it and the people who are trying to find another option, trying to create a plan to exit. This, my advice is to you. Take back your power and stop allowing these people at your job to drive you crazy and try your best to compartmentalize. Realize that you are there to get your paycheck. And if you need to go back to your handbook or whatever information you were given when you started to see what your actual job responsibilities are, do that. And a lot of times, what you will realize is that you are doing things that are not even in the scope of your job description. Your manager might now be asking for you to take on more responsibility because they don't have enough staff or because it's a busy season or whatever. Being a team player, in my opinion, is something that you do when you want a career. You see a long-term vision at a company. That's when maybe you compromise a little bit. That's when maybe you stay late. That's when, you make sacrifices because you see the vision. But if you know that this job sucks and you don't want to be there anymore, why would you give more of yourself to improve, the quality of whatever products they're selling to make themselves more money and they're paying you peanuts? Like, no, that's not where you should concentrate your energy. So strip all of that back, do what is required of you so that you don't get fired. Because I don't want anyone in here being like, well, Abby told me that I should just do the least and now you get fired and you blame me. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is all of the extras you do not need to be doing. Okay. So that's what I would say there, so that at least you can conserve some of your energy for when you come home. Then you can spend, that hour doing some product research. I know it's hard and I know it sucks to have to make those types of sacrifices now, but remember that it is all for a greater good. It's a long-term gain when you make this short-term sacrifice. And so right now, if you are not getting a lot of sleep as it is, and now you're having to sacrifice that extra hour. Maybe you have to wake up an hour early in the morning to do your product research or stay up an hour later at night when really you could use that hour of sleep. I know it's hard, but it will be worth it. You're doing it so that you are able to build this business that can be passive for you later on. There is a light at the end of the tunnel when you have a plan and you're trying to execute that plan. So that is one thing that I would say. And just, remember that the people who are most successful in life, the people who are the richest or whatever it is that your goal is, they are not the smartest people in the world. They are not the hardest working people in the world. They are the ones that are most disciplined. Like, discipline is literally the key word for anyone who is successful. It means that they are willing to do it even when they don't feel like doing it. It doesn't mean that it has to be hard, but it just means that you're over it. Like, you want to spend the rest of your night watching Netflix. You can do that, or you could take an hour of that rest of the time and do a little bit of product research, talk to a couple suppliers. It's all about priorities and making the time. And then remember, at the end of the day, you're going to be able to enjoy the seeds that you are planting right now. And that's really how I feel, because I think back to those times where I would be up in the middle of the night. I would be literally crying because I would be so tired, or I would just be so over it. And I'm like, you just keep on going, keep on going. You'll be able to help mom out with the bills a little bit. You'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. And, I had my reasons for wanting to start this business. And of course, I wanted to help other people, but I also wanted to help myself. Like I was miserable and I wanted better for me as well. So, whatever you need to do, whatever your why is, I know that sounds corny, but it's true. What is the reason that you're doing the thing that you're doing? What is the reason that you're willing to lose sleep? What is the reason that you're willing to, grind it out for now? For now, because I am not one of those gurus or coaches or mentors or whatever that's like, you'll sleep when you're dead. Just keep on going hard, hard, hard every single day, up at 5 a.m. Never. If you know me, if you knew me in real life, you would get it even more. But even from like the way that I live my life, and I share some of that on my social media, like on Instagram and stuff. I am not that girl. I am not someone who's like, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I meditate and then I go to the gym and I do Pilates and I've done everything before 9 a.m. Like, that is not the reality, at least for me. I am a very realistic person. When it comes to my business, I do what I need to do to get the most I can out of it. I squeeze. And so if I need to make more money, I am scaling by looking at my ads. I'm thinking, what is the most strategic action I can take now to maximize my sales without me breaking a sweat? What can I do that is going to be a good investment of my time now that I'll be able to profit from later on? And so when you have that foresight and that vision, that can really help you stay, again, disciplined to achieve whatever you need to do, because motivation is not going to make you successful. There's a lot of motivated people who are probably watching me right now. Y'all are probably like, okay, maybe I don't know this girl like that, but she seems to be doing fine in life. She's making money on Amazon and she's got this and she's doing that and whatever. Yeah, I'm motivated. I can do it too. But if you do nothing with that motivation, if you do nothing after this live, pointless. It was all for nothing. I hate to say it. It's tough love, you guys. It's tough love. Discipline is what is going to get you to go and download Helium 10. Discipline is what's going to have you doing your product research. Discipline is what's going to have you doing the little steps that are going to build on each other to get you to the point where you're launching that first product. So all I want to say, and I know I've been talking for freaking ever and I feel it in my is that if you can just keep on going, if you can keep on being consistent, if you can keep on taking those little steps, you are going to thank yourself. You're going to be so happy that you stuck with it. Because here I am, going on 6 years later, living in this beautiful house that I was able to buy with my Amazon money, about to go swim in my beautiful pool that I was able to buy with my Amazon money, being able to know that my mom is peacefully sleeping at home, not having to work like she did when I was a kid, not having to keep two jobs to survive like she did when I was a kid, being able to give my sister an incredible wedding gift. Child, that's the most money I ever gave somebody in one chunk. And I was able to do it because Amazon. So these are the things that I did when I was 25 years old, having no real concept of how far I was going to be able to take this business. But those things that I did then, I am still being rewarded for now. And I want you to know that it can all have a purpose and it can all lead you to something great if you are willing to put the work in, if you are willing to take the chance. Most of you in here, unfortunately, are never going to even try. And that's the sad part of it, especially for me, knowing what it can do, how your life can change. Unfortunately, I can't make anyone do anything. So all I can do is come on here and give you guys the information and tell you my story and teach you and answer as many questions as I can to hopefully give you the confidence to know that you can do this. I am not a genius. I am not someone who had all the resources. I'm not, a born business person. I'm not even good at math. So if I can do it, I know you guys can do it too. So I hope you know that this is within reach for you as well. Okay, enough is enough. Enough is enough. And you guys are not doing a good job keeping me on track. I told y'all, let me know in the comments, like, Abby, could we start answering questions again? Y'all are just too polite. You guys are like letting me rant and letting me say what I gotta say. Please. Okay. Um, let's see. I needed that. Thank you. Definitely giving mom vibes. You're welcome. Etsy product, 10 plus day shipping, good demand, moderate competition on Amazon. Can I sell FBA? 10 plus days shipping, good demand, moderate competition. Will 2 day shipping and branding be attractive, or will customers still prefer Etsy where they have more options? It depends on what the numbers say. I would use Helium 10 to kind of get a good grasp on how many units they're selling, because you're saying good demand, but how are you gauging what good demand is? And moderate competition, how are you gauging that? What numbers are you looking at? And what software are you using to actually get the numbers to back that up? Like, you can't, I know maybe that sounds rude, but you can't just look at a product and know that it has good demand. There's no way. You will have to use a software that will give you the tangible data. That's what's going to tell you if there's actually demand or not. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that you won't know unless you actually run the numbers. So I would say use Helium 10 to look at the numbers for sure. I only have one product on Amazon. My product hasn't been selling. Will it be worth it to liquidate? It depends on why the product isn't selling. Is it because your price point doesn't make sense? Is it that your listing is not the best it can be? Maybe your photos could use some improvement. Do you have reviews? How many reviews? There are lots of different things. So I can't really say if you should liquidate it or not, because it depends on the product and why it's not moving. Because there are certain things that you can do to save a product that is not really selling, but there would be extenuating circumstances that would make it very hard to save a product. For example, that is in a really high competition niche. That would be hard to save. So I can't say with certainty without knowing what the product is. I will send you a screenshot of the market facilitator tax I'm talking about. It says that Amazon withholds tax from my sales. Interesting. Yeah, send it to me, because I don't know that I've seen that before. Unless they're saying that is the tax they collect for their taxes. I don't know. I will research more. Yeah, send me a picture of that, because I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, but once I see it, I'll know if I recognize it or not. Do you recommend drop shipping on Amazon? If so, what's the best drop shipping supplier? I do not. In fact, drop shipping on Amazon is against their terms of service, so do not do that. I want to take tips from you. Please provide your Insta handle. It would be great. Agreed. Of all the sellers, I only trust you and one other person. You're honest and transparent and truly want to help people. Thank you. I appreciate that. Abby can help you better than I can, sir. I am And see, that just proves my point before, that I actually enjoy teaching. Some people do not, and it's not a crime, because I get it. I mean, absolutely. But hopefully that helps to make my point a little bit more. I was laid off from my job recently. Can I potentially start my Amazon business and see a return within 60 to 90 days, or should I expect a longer turnaround? It depends. And Neji, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly, so I apologize if I'm not. But for example, Neji launched in December 2023. We just finished March. So January, February, March, 3 months, and had a 50K month last month. So he's seeing a turnaround, but also he has a different approach to where he's not necessarily going to be like living off of that dollar amount. You know what I mean? So it varies from person to person, and I hate to say anything that is inaccurate. So for me to sit here and say like you are going to see a turnaround in 60 days, 90 days, I can't say that, because I don't know what method you're going to use. I don't know what product you're going to pick. I don't know what supplier you're going to pick, but I will say that it is definitely possible to launch in 30, or not 30 days. That's too quick. I would say, yeah, 60 to 90 days you can launch, but it depends on you. So I can't say whether you will. I'm just saying in general, it can be done. Okay. Asking because you said we shouldn't leave our 9 to 5 until we make more than what we make at a 9 to 5. I'm looking to invest fully in Amazon FBA private label and want to be realistic. I'm now out of a job. I wouldn't see this as this is going to be my sole source of income within 2 months or 3 months. I don't think that that is realistic. only because you are learning. You don't know what you don't know. I would have more confidence in that if you were following a program, because then at least you know that you're not going to make like the obvious mistakes. But even so, nothing can be guaranteed. And I'm certainly not going to sit here and like try to make it seem like that is guaranteed or even likely, because I don't know that. And I don't want to give you false hope. And I'm sorry if it sounds negative. I just have to be honest. I could sit here and I could say, yeah, girl, you're going to be good in three. Like I could say that, but you're a real person with a real life. And I'm sure a family and people you care about. I would never want to be part of the reason that someone is in a worse off position because they're not being realistic with their approach or realistic with their goals. So, yes, you can be up and launch in 2 to 3 months, but will you immediately be paying yourself out enough that it would theoretically like make up what you would make at a 9 to 5? I don't know that. So, I think it's definitely worth it to do it, but I can't put an exact timeline on it because I don't know. Um, I'm sorry, it's not probably the answer you want to hear, but it's the honest answer. Source first during your job you have now. Don't quit anything before you make a better return from FBA than you do from your regular job, for sure. Budget, save, source, and then execute. Okay, Neji. But like she is saying, now you need discipline. You have to actually do it. Oh, I didn't read your whole comment. You need a steady income or some money saved. Yep, for sure. Thank you for the free sauce. You're welcome. I'm trying. Okay. I have at least 6 months of expenses. Okay, so I didn't get to the whole thing either. Saved. I'm just wondering if I need to get another job before investing in Amazon FBA, because now I have to pay for insurance, phone, cable out of pocket. I would still look for another job, because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and assume that Amazon is going to sustain everything within X amount of months. I just wouldn't want to put that much pressure on it. Yes, you want to put your energy and, your effort into it, but at the same time, nothing is guaranteed. And so if you have 6 months of expenses saved and you still have to deduct the cost to actually start your business. So who knows, maybe now you only have 4 months of expenses saved. And then, you just kind of put yourself in a tight position if you have no other sources of income. Is FBM a waste of time starting out? In my opinion, yes. And the reason that I say that is when you do FBM, you're not going to have Prime on your listing, and you're going to miss out on so many customers, because Amazon Prime customers, they want the Prime offer. Like me personally, I shop on Amazon way more than I should. And if a product is not Prime, I am not buying it. Like I pay for Prime so I can get my stuff in 2 days. So if you do FBM, you're not going to have the Prime check mark, and you're going to miss out on a lot of sales because people just aren't going to want to wait. On top of the fact that now you have to be the one to actually deliver the products yourself. I just feel like a lot of times people who go the FBM route are not thinking about the value of their own time. Like, yes, you can theoretically save a couple dollars. Now you don't have to pay Amazon that amount to do your fulfillment, but what are you giving up in exchange for that? You save a couple of dollars, but then now you're the one who's having to package the orders. You're the one that's having to go to the post office or UPS or wherever. Don't you think your time matters? Like if you spend, let's call it even conservative, let's call it 30 minutes. You get your order. Now you have to go print out the shipping label. You have to package up the order. You have to drive to wherever to drop it off, drive back. If you spend 30 minutes, and in today's day and age, 2024, I mean, I don't really know how much average workers get paid, but let's say that you're working for $20 an hour. Wouldn't you rather pay Amazon that fee than spend like $10 of your time or $20 of your time delivering? You know what I mean? I hope I'm making sense. Like it's really just a matter of figuring out what is the best use of your time and your skills. You don't need to be packaging orders. Amazon can do that. They have robots that do it. They have people that they pay that do it. You don't need to be the person that's doing it. That's the way that I look at it, but to each their own. But yeah, personally for me, FBM would be a waste of time. Okay, let's see. What is the best video to watch of yours getting started? I would say my free training would be the best video. It's not here on YouTube, but if you click on the link in my description, it'll say free Amazon training. That would be the best place to get started. Using Helium 10 data plus training to determine Amazon demand and competition, worried if customers will still go to Etsy where they've got more options in type, color, design, shape. There are different types of customers who would shop on Etsy compared to Amazon and for different things. Like, for example, my son is turning 4 in May and he's having a dinosaur pool party. Well, I'm throwing him a dinosaur pool party and everything is going to be like dino themed and all of that. I wanted a piñata for his birthday. I didn't even really search on Amazon too hard, but for something that is more personalized or something that's more artsy, and even with that, Amazon has a lot of good options. But for the piñata specifically, I got it from Etsy. I threw my sister's bachelorette party like 6 months ago, and I got a light up sign and I bought it from Etsy. For her bachelorette party, I got customized pajamas and I got that from Etsy because I'm looking for something more personalized, something more custom, something that I want a little more care taken with versus Amazon. It's like I can get whatever I need, I can get it fast, but is it going to be something super custom? Probably not. I would go elsewhere for something like that. So it's just a different customer for each platform. So yes, theoretically, there are going to be people who will go to Etsy instead, but then there's going to be those people who just want their stuff fast and they're going to go to Amazon. So you're yes, there's competition, but it's different types of people that would go to each platform. Does that make sense? Hey, Abby, what do you think is a healthy click to conversion rate? I currently have a product that is getting good clicks, but struggling to convert. For context, we're in the launch phase at the moment. It's not it's not like a standard number I could say because it has a lot to do with the specifics of your product. Like, what is the price point and how much are you bidding? Because if you're spending less, let's call it a dollar. I mean, even that maybe it's a little steep, but let's just call it you're spending a dollar per click and your product sells for $25 and I'm trying to explain it without overcomplicating it for the people who have never ran PPC. They're probably like, what are you talking about, girl? So I'm trying to like simplify it, but I mean, obviously you're running ads, so this might seem super vague to you, but if you're not spending a lot, but you're not converting, you're not losing as much compared to, let's say, if you had a product, you're spending $5 a click and it's still going for 25. I mean, that's a bigger loss that you're taking. So I don't know. I can't say exactly because it depends. It's like saying what is a good profit margin? Like it depends on your niche. It depends on like, are you selling at volume? There's different approaches to it. So I wish I could be more specific, but I really can't without knowing the numbers. But if you are looking for extra help with PPC, Jay, who is one of my students and our peer coach in the program, he does one-on-one calls for PPC, and you don't have to be a part of my program to book a call with him. So you could also look into that. If you're interested, you can book a call with him on my website, learnwithabby.com. So that's another option for you. Okay. Also, that being said, when you're launching, you typically spend more money on PPC. So maybe that helps a little bit. Do you have to have a website to do Amazon? Can't it be a Shopify store? No, you don't have to have a website. You just create a listing on Amazon.com. So no, you don't have to have a separate website. Hi, how can I start? You can start with the free training linked in the description of this video. That would be the perfect place to start. I purchased Helium 10 and have been researching, but I'm lost. It seems like a lot to learn. Have you watched the product research videos here on my channel? Thank you for answering and being transparent. You're welcome. Of course, happy to help. FBA over FBM any day, especially if you plan on scaling up. Are you going to ship out a million orders a day? Exactly. You get it. You get it because nobody has time to be doing that. Got it. Thanks, Abby. You're welcome. With my 50K month last month, I had 400 plus sales a day, and you couldn't pay me enough to ship all of those orders out. Right. That's why I mentioned it before. Like, it doesn't seem like a big deal when you're starting out because maybe you're only selling a couple units a day or, 100 units a month or something. That's small scale. And maybe that's not that hard for you or you don't mind doing it. But what happens when you start to rank and you're on page one and now you're moving 10 units a day, 20, 30, 40 plus? I mean, you're talking about 400 sales a day. I mean, it's not realistic, and it's not realistic, and it's not logical. Like, that does not make sense for you to be doing that when Amazon has the processes, the systems, the labor, the infrastructure to support that much movement. You are a person in your house or in your apartment. Like, no, it doesn't make sense. On top of having to store it all yourself, like, if you're selling a lot of product, where are you going to put it all? It just doesn't make sense. What products do you sell or recommend to sell on Amazon FBA? I'm in the health and household category, but you'll have to do research to find your own product to sell. Thank you for your expertise. You're welcome. Could you point me to authentic resources on how to create a customer email database using terms of service compliant product inserts on FBA? Authentic resources on how to create a customer email database using TOS compliant product inserts on Amazon FBA. Technically, to be compliant with Amazon's terms of service, you can't really gather customer data. You're not supposed to. So in terms of having a product insert that has your own website where you would then ask them to go and like fill out some form for a warranty, and of course they're going to have to provide their email for that. You can do that, I guess, but you have to be careful about how you word it. It has to be that you are providing them with a follow-up. It can't just be that you're gathering emails for the sake of turning them into your own customers, because Amazon doesn't like that because it's their customers technically. But realistically, if they're buying your product, I mean, it makes perfect sense that you would want to funnel them into your own email list so that you can sell other things to them in the future. But you've got to be careful. For that, I would just say like Google. I'm sure there are articles on different methods of doing it, but you've got to be careful. Oh my goodness, I cracked the advertisement code on Amazon. It all depends on what you are selling. You have to play with the numbers until they work for you. Absolutely. Do you have to run ads on Amazon? You don't have to, but you're probably going to need to get the momentum on your products. So no, it's not a requirement. And there are going to be certain sellers who never run an ad because they just have done that good of a job picking a good product. But yeah, the average person is going to want to run ads to get that traction. Are Amazon like Facebook ads? Yes and no. Yes, because it's an ad. I feel like that's really the only thing they have in common. No, because with a Facebook ad, you are creating the ad itself. Like, you have to have the assets of the ad, like the copy and the video or photo or whatever it is that you're using to actually promote. Versus with Amazon PPC, there are different ways to run your ads on Amazon, but the most standard way is when you are promoting the listing itself. So you're not creating an ad, you're more so just promoting your listing. Does that make sense? Instead of seeing like an ad for a sneaker like you would on Facebook where it shows up like on the side, instead of that, it would just be the actual listing with the sneaker, but it's being placed strategically. So maybe when you type in sneaker, you see that at the very top. So it's just a different structure to how the ads are done. If you want real sales, yes. Mhm. Hey, Abby, what are the benefits of purchasing your Savvy Seller FBA course and what's offered there that's not offered in your free training and YouTube video library? The benefits of the course, I think the biggest benefit is one, the lifetime access. I've got students from like 2020 who still reach out and who I'm still, able to help and all of that. So I think just kind of the lifetime value would be something I think is a little bit unique for me. I know that there are lots of other programs and a lot of them are only for like a year or 6 months or whatever. It kind of like limits the access that you have to the content and to the mentor. Mine is not that way. And then realistically, I do think that the mentorship is the most important piece because truth be told, a lot of the information that is taught in every course on Amazon or Shopify or whatever else, a lot of that information can be found if you look hard enough. If you're willing to watch a million YouTube videos, yeah, you could probably find a lot of the information. If you're willing to spend hours on Google a day, yes, you could scavenge and find the information. But the whole purpose of a course is that it consolidates all of that for you. So it's shortening the amount of time, the amount of effort, the amount of stress that it would take to find and kind of gather and collect that information. So it simplifies that process. But when it comes to the mentorship piece of it, I feel like that is what is unique when you're looking at a program or a course is what are the intangibles that you're going to get? Do you have that peace of mind that you can reach out to that person? Like with me, we have Zoom calls. I'm in the Facebook group, actually me, not some VA that's just like pretending to be me. It's actually me. So I think, that amount of support and being able to have that level of contact with the person who's actually the creator of the course or who's teaching it is something that I personally enjoy if I'm looking, to be a part of a mentorship or whatever. So, yeah, I will just leave it there. There's lots of other things I could say, but my goal here is not to spend 20 minutes trying to sell you guys. That's not the purpose of this live at all. But let me just finish answering your question. What's offered there that's not offered in your free training? Yeah, the mentorship I think would be the biggest piece. I also give product ideas. I give templates. I give PDFs, workbooks, worksheets, like lots of resources over in the course and in the private group. And then, of course, access to me would be the biggest one. Okay, next question is I be repeating stuff I read to understand it more too. LOL, you really are my FBA mother. I'm only 30 and I am a mom in real life. But why gotta be your FBA mama? Why can't I be your FBA? I mean, auntie's the same thing. Your FBA cousin. Hmm. Or your FBA bestie. I gotta be your mama. Why? How often do you go live? I don't have a schedule, but I do go live more often on Instagram. So if you do like the lives, definitely connect with me on IG. I go live over there probably like once or twice a week. Here on YouTube, this was meant to be experimental. Like I did not intend on being on here for 2 hours at all. I figured like, let me pop on here and maybe like 5 people will join. We'll just like chit chat for 30 minutes. Like that's what I had in my brain. So not planned, but I talk a lot. So I guess that's why we're still here. And I would be willing to potentially make it more of a regular thing here on YouTube, maybe like a live a week or something I might be able to commit to. But the way that my lifestyle is set up is that I like low expectations. Like I don't like feeling like there's something that I have to do. I like just like doing it when I feel like it. And I would never want to tell you guys like I'm going to be live every Monday at 10 p.m. and then, I just don't show up. I like to be reliable. So that's why I'm slow to commit to certain things, is because if I don't feel confident that I can make sure I always do it, then I don't want to say that I'm going to do it. It's a blessing and a curse. Okay. What do you think? Oh, but you can turn your notifications on. There you go. What do you think about third-party product testing and review websites who claim to be Amazon TOS compliant? Can I use these while launching? I would tread lightly. Honestly, I feel like you don't need it. If you're launching and you're looking for reviews, I feel like friends and family, make sure they're not in the same household as you. Make sure that you have not shared Wi-Fi. Don't use anyone who is a neighbor. Um, Anyone who has your last name. I know that sounds insane, but you know how intense Amazon can be when it comes to reviews and review manipulation. But the best way that I have found, or at least in the past when I was starting out trying to get reviews, is to do like a friend of a friend, or like people who you have a degree of separation from. So not your mom, but like your mom's coworker, not your sister, but your sister's boyfriend, not your cousin, but your cousin's best friend. Do you get what I'm saying? Someone who would be willing to do it, but not close enough that Amazon can make the connection. So to answer your question, can you theoretically, should you? I would not. I wouldn't. But, who am I? I definitely read this signs. Wasn't going to say that because I didn't want to rain on your bread, Abby. LOL. But yes, exactly what she is saying. I started with videos only, no course, but everybody's learning language is different. Yeah. And the thing too is, if you don't take a course, but you're very good at like doing your own research and like, putting different puzzle pieces together, then you'll be fine. You strike me as that type of person. I know that we don't know each other at all and we're just literally talking on a random YouTube live, but I feel like you see certain characteristics in people by the way that they speak and communicate. And from you, it very much seems like you're like a self-starter, like you're going to figure it out one way or another. Not everyone is like that. Not everyone has that in them. And not everyone is comfortable doing that. You have times where you have a lot of doubt and a lot of like self insecurity. That is not what I'm trying to say. Lack of self-confidence in the sense of like, am I learning the right thing? Am I understanding it correctly? That's what I mean. There's a word for it, and I'm not able to find it right now, but I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say. FBA cousin, and I only said that because you said it first. You give younger than 30 for sure, cousin. You do not have to lie to me, okay? Oh my gosh, I want to be young so bad. When I turned 30, all of my body parts started to ache. My knees are cracking. My neck hurts. Like, don't get old, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, it's not that bad. Being 30 is like being 20, but with money. We love it here. Okay. Hi, Abby. The link gives an error message that I need to convert to a different time zone when registering for your free course. I did that and still got an error message. Can you send me a screenshot of the error message that you're getting? I'll see if I can figure it out when I get off of here. Do you only sell private labeling on Amazon? Yes, I only do private label. How long did it take before you found your first product? I started looking for my first product in August-ish of 2018 and launched my first product in January of 2019. It took my supplier forever, probably like 2 months to make my product, maybe like 45 to like 55 days. There were lots of delays. That supplier sucked. So it took longer than it should have. And then it probably took another month or so for shipping. So I would say like a month or so to actually find the product, a month, maybe a month and a half or so. Okay. Self-conflict. Yeah. Yeah. And listen, my body hurts now. That's why I'm working so hard as I can while I can. I know this body will eventually give out. You are 22 years old. You're supposed to be nimble, okay? If you feel like your body's hurting, you need a stretch. There's no way at 22 you should be achy. Oh my goodness. So what is private label? Private label is a method of selling where you put your own brand on a generic product, you differentiate that product, and then you sell it for more than what you bought it for. So you're buying a generic product like this light at a low cost, you're having your logo put on the product, you're making it better, and then you are going to then sell what might be a $2 product for $10 on Amazon. So you're marking it up. Thank you so much for answering my questions. You're welcome, Brittany. No problem. Happy to help. All right, you guys. I feel like I've been talking for an eternity and I'm starting to lose my voice. So I think this would be kind of a good place to wrap it on up. If there are any other urgent questions, let me know. I'll answer maybe like two more before we close it out. But this has been so nice. Not me liking the YouTube live. I love it here. But like I said, I definitely go live more on IG. So if you want more lives, definitely follow me over there. Don't even think about what will happen closer to 40. Oh, child. See, that's the reason why I'm in the gym so much now. I'm like, girl, you got to do everything you can to preserve the elasticity that you still got, the muscle mass you still got. Whew. Yeah. Please don't go. LOL. No. See you on Instagram. Brittany, I am a Leo, okay? You can flatter me into staying. Like, I am very much easy to keep around. Thank you, Abby. Very informative session. You're welcome, Elle. I'm happy to help. So it seems like if you have a private label, you definitely would need a website. No, you don't need to have a separate website. You can just make a listing on Amazon. Some people do end up selling on other platforms like a Shopify website or Walmart or Etsy or wherever else. But when you're selling on Amazon by itself, you don't need to have a separate website. Your listing is essentially your website. So, no. You're a Leo too? Gang, gang. Come on now. Come on now. I will say, I don't truly identify as like I am a Leo, but I don't think I give Leo. Do I? I probably do here because I'm like talking to you guys. I have more energy when I'm talking to you, but on a regular basis, I'm definitely more of an introvert. I don't really like people that much in real life. I have like two friends. Definitely not the center of the party or life of the party. You know the way people make Leo seem like we just love attention and we're so dramatic and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't really feel like I identify with that, but I don't know. Maybe that's what I give off. We need more product research videos. Are you serious? I have so many. But you know what? There is a product research video right now in the drafts. It was going to go up today, but I decided to post the interview today instead. But check it out. Oh, where is it? Where's my finger? Oh, there it is. That's next week's video. Product research with Alibaba. Also, please check my DM. I put the market facilitator tags and no, you didn't give Leo, but I'm an introvert Leo too. Wow, are we the same person? Are we real cousins? That is so funny. I refreshed and tried again. The link is working. Thanks, Abby. Have a good one. And thank you for help. Of course. I'm glad that it's working for you now. That's awesome. Okay, see, one of my toxic traits is that I'm like I'm like a pastor who just can't end the sermon. I'm like your mom at the end of the service when you are ready to go home and she just has to say goodbye to every person that walks out of the church. Yeah, that's what I'm giving. It's always really hard for me to end the live because I love it. And I feel like we're vibing and connecting, and I'm like answering questions, and I've got a nice little flow. To end it just seems sad. So forgive me that it's taking me a long time to actually end this live. Okay, enough is enough. Let me stop being a big baby. That's what happens when you have no friends in real life. I'm like, these people are my friends. Okay, enough is enough. Let me go ahead and end the live. It's been great, you guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. I hope that this was helpful. If you think of any other questions, feel free to join. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram. You can always DM me over there. I'm very good at answering my DMs, so I'll be happy to help you out in any way that I can. And I think that's all I got. Let's see. Just purchase the course. Woohoo! Welcome. You're going to love it. There's so much info in there. So don't feel overwhelmed. Take your time. And make sure you join the Facebook group because that's where you're going to see everything. You're going to love it. Yay. Welcome. Watching from work. Okay, Brittany, have a great rest of your shift. It'll be over before you know it. And if you start selling on Amazon, honey, you might not need to keep working that job, baby, by the end of the year. I'm speaking it into existence. 99 blessings. Good night, Elle. What's the Facebook group? It's only for members of the program. So when you join the program, in your welcome email that you receive, you would get a link to the Facebook group as well. So it's private, only for members. But if you ever join, then you would get access to the group as well. Okay. On that note, you gave some scammers. I know. The TikTok scammers are the freaking worst. I've got scammers on every platform. Instagram is the easiest for me to control because I'm verified on Instagram, so I can report them, even though most of the time when they're impersonating me, they block me so that I can't see them and therefore report them so that they get taken down. So it's just really annoying. And then I get messages all the time like, is this you? And then the scammer is like messaging them like, hello, dear, you like to make money? And it's just like, child, if you're going to impersonate me, at least like make it look good. Like it sounds absolutely crazy. And I'm just like, I hate to see it. And honestly, I'm never the person that's going to be like, you're dumb if you fall for a scam. Like you should know it's not me. I feel like you should know it's not me because why would I be WhatsApping you about Bitcoin? You know what I mean? But at the same time, I understand that sometimes people are just like not aware that there's people out there who literally like try to steal your money. So I feel bad if anyone gets scammed. And I have had people reach out to me and they say like, I sent them X amount of money through Zelle, or I sent them X amount of money through Cash App or whatever. And I feel really, really bad about it because I don't want anyone to waste their money or, decide to give someone money based off of the fact that they think it's me. You know what I mean? That makes me feel really bad. But unfortunately, there's not really anything I can do to stop it. I wish there was, but it sucks. So that's another thing too. When I'm able to go live, at least like it shows people like this is the real me. And like I only have these social media handles, but there's not a lot I can do, unfortunately. So thank you for bringing that up. For the record, you guys, if you ever leave a comment on any of my YouTube videos and someone's like, let's discuss mentorship on WhatsApp, like that is not me. If you ever want to learn from me directly, everything will be linked directly in my videos or in the descriptions of my videos. And that would be the way that you know that it's legit if I'm linking it myself. Don't fall for it if someone reaches out to you and they're like, do you want to make money with investment? Like, what are we talking about? Absolutely not. They try to add me on so many different pages, LOL, then have like 2 videos up. Right. It's so weird. It's so weird. The amount of effort that these people put into scamming, I'm like, you could literally just learn to sell on Amazon. What? It's so pathetic. But yeah, don't fall for it, you guys. When Amazon collects a market facilitator tax on an FBA sale, it is essentially collecting and remitting sales tax on your behalf. Oh, okay. I didn't know that that's what they called it. Market facilitator tax. Huh. Maybe I just always have thought of it as like the sales tax that designates certain large online marketplaces as market facilitators. These laws, which may private platforms like Amazon. Yeah, Amazon, they don't withhold taxes for you, like federal taxes that you would pay to the IRS, the way that it would with like a regular job, like a W-2 employee, their employer will just deduct the taxes and they most likely won't owe anything when tax time comes. Okay, so that's, I guess, the official name for it. That's interesting. Okay. I know that in the past, like way, way back, I think it was probably a year or two before I started selling on Amazon, they didn't automatically do that. But then at some point, they switched over to automatically doing it for the states that have that. That was word for word what it told me. Sorry for no, it's okay. I figured that you were putting like a definition. Yeah. Okay, so that's just them doing the sales tax for you, which they should. I mean, I feel like most platforms do that for their third party sellers because it would be kind of silly to expect a regular Amazon seller to know the sales tax laws for every state because it's going to vary depending on where the product is being sold. And then it's like, are we talking about where the customer is registered to, like where their Amazon account, excuse me, might be registered to, or where the product is being delivered? Like, for example, if I ordered a product for my mom, is the sales tax going to be charged for where she lives or for where I live because it's being delivered to her? You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of complexity. So it makes sense that Amazon would calculate that on their end because it has to be accurate. Um, so yeah, that makes sense. Okay. See what I mean? Like, I just be on here lingering and I'm like, I gotta go, guys. Sorry, I'm ending the live. And then I'm here for like 10 more minutes. It's annoying. It's giving. I'm obsessed with you guys. I really enjoyed this. Thanks again. You're welcome, Brittany. Have a good. It's the way the arm just flat. I hope you have a good rest of your shift. So what is there left for me to pay in taxes? You would be paying like your own personal taxes. So when you go to file, you're gonna download your 1099 form from your Amazon seller account, which it's going to be a form called a 1099K. Basically, all it says is how much money you made on Amazon. So it's going to be like the dollar amount. And I think it breaks it down by month. And so you would give that form to your tax person, your accountant, which you need an accountant because you're making enough. You would give that to them at tax time, and then you will be saving, a portion of your income from Amazon. So like I said, I think a third is generous, but I would rather save too much than not enough. Some people say a quarter should be fine. So you could do that like 25% and just put that away so that when you file your taxes, you're going to owe money because you made so much on Amazon. You didn't pay any taxes on it. Everyone has to pay taxes. So that's what you would be doing. And you're supposed to pay them quarterly when you have an LLC, but you don't have to technically. You just have to pay them by the time your taxes are actually due in April. Don't do my cousins. Also, they make me file monthly. They make you file which taxes monthly? Your personal taxes? I'm not sure what you mean. We complete sales and use. You mean you're physically filing something every month for your sales tax? I wonder what your settings are in your seller account. How to save tax on Alibaba for purchasing product for resale on Amazon. You can fill out a form. What is the form called? Hold on. Well, you can Google it. There's a form that you can fill out. Um, you would essentially need an EIN for that. So you can get an EIN from the IRS website like really easily, really quickly, like within 5 minutes, and you can use that to get. It's the tax exemption form. You can get your taxes exempt with that EIN. You just have to go through the process. Um, Georgia Department of Revenue. We'll just talk through DM because I'm never going to end this live if we keep talking here. So I'll check because I know that you've probably sent me a message over there already, and we'll chit chat. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and end it. It's been 2.5 hours. And you guys are holding me hostage against my will. I'm just kidding. I'm holding y'all hostage at this point. Okay, you guys, have an amazing rest of your week. Have a productive rest of your week. Make that Amazon account. Download Helium 10. Watch some videos. Start your Amazon business, okay? You guys can do it. I believe in you. One more. Okay, Brittany, give it to me quick, and then we'll end it. Will you have another sale on my program? Potentially. If you're wanting to enroll, send me a DM on Instagram and let me know that you were in this live, and I will give you a code. But yeah, send me a message. We'll figure something out. But okay, that's it, you guys. I'm ending it for real. I'm gonna see if I can post a replay or something here. Hopefully I can. Don't know. First live, we'll see. And that's it. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great night. And I will catch you guys next time. Bye, everyone.